It's time for the shop report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Scruffy McJ. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. Of course, we want to remind you, Shop Report is brought to you by Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. You can look them up on Facebook at RDM Detroit, 1D, 2E Detroit, or you can slide on over to the website, rocketdigital.net. That's ROCKIT digital.net. Make sure when you're there, while you're there, you tell them the BSJ sent you. And for my folk out there in TV land, if you want to leave your questions or comments during today's program, by all means, please do so. We will throw it up on the screen. And y'all know what's coming next. If you're one of them folks that likes to leave or wants to leave a question or comment that's indignant or ignorant in nature, it won't be seen on this screen. Matter of fact, here's what you'll get.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
With that being said, joining me on the program today is my cat from up north, Joey James, aka Double J. I don't know where Brother Rich is at. Matter of fact, let me find your intro. The intro is way down in the bottom there. All right, Double J, tell the people what you say.
R.I.P. Chris Ford.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Somebody from the Warriors, and I think was it Jalen Rose or somebody gave him a shout out for the passing of Chris Ford. He played with the Celtics, I believe.
That's right. And he is, for those, especially in today's era, this is your trivia question that you'll see in perpetuity.
There's no such thing as trivia anymore with Google.
Well, true. He was the first to make an NBA three in that, 79-80 season? Or was it 80-81?
No, all right. It was 79-80. Yep. Shout out to Chris Ford. Man, we're losing a lot of good ones. Before we start today's show, there's a continuation now that we were on air right before we joined you all, came on here live. We got my man D Gully from the CL Bus. He decided to join us.
Intro coming soon. Now that he's back.
Yeah, Gully, your intro. Double J is in the process of putting together an intro, especially for you. But we got to at least see your face, man. At least put some type of. Can you put your company logo in place of the blank person there? Can you do that? Is that possible? Hello, Paige and Gully. Oh my gosh. Anywho, Gully's having technical difficulties. But while he's working on his technical difficulties, Double J and I before we came on live here, we were discussing the state of college basketball as it sits currently. And of course, obviously, you all see Double J here with the Purdue, ensemble, paraphernalia, I don't know, what have you, and all that other good stuff. And it's in my own opinion, and please don't place any wagers based on BSJ's opinion. Okay, I'd hate for y'all to become knocking at my door. Trust me, I do not have anything in my 401k to pay you. Oh, Gully, is that you? He'll join us. Yeah, he understands he's having technical difficulties. Yeah, I can't afford to pay money. But I was saying to him about Purdue right now. What's the coach's name again? Painter or something? Painted. He shouldn't have painted. He don't know nothing about playing in the paint. Because if he did, you would understand that Lawyer should only shoot whenever Edey. It's only two reasons why anybody else on Purdue, and again, this is my opinion, should ever do anything outside in regards to scoring or anything else other than. That's when Edey is either in foul trouble or he just is triple teamed and can't get a shot. Other than that, you feed Edey all as long as he's on the floor and he's got the wind to go. Then Painter, listen, I'm when them take the little coach's time out and they be drawing to the board. I want you to go here, and then we're gonna do a backdoor cut. You don't have to do Pete Carril. You don't have to do nothing when it comes to this particular Purdue team. When he's on the sidelines doing that, all it should say is throw the ball inside. That's it. There's no other player, front court team, no other player that can deal with Edey. There's no other. They should waltz to an NCAA title. I'm telling you now. If they don't, it'll be because of the coach. Literally, it will be. Just like it was when they play. Who were they playing? Maybe 4 or 5 games ago. I can't recall. My son and I were watching it. And they took him off the floor with about a minute left to go in the game. He sat him down.
That's where they go defense to offense, and I'm going to ask your opinion on that. They
almost lost the game because of that. And he put him back in, and Edey, the basket that Edey scored, they actually end up winning by those 2 points.
So for some reason, they haven't really been blowing anyone out. I mean, it's been some decent wins, but maybe is that the nature of the Big Ten? Maybe not. But to your point, you're referring to both Ohio State, even Rutgers was a 1-possession game. They hit a 3 with a couple seconds left. And then, of course, Michigan State, where Izzo said right after they played Illinois that he wasn't going to double them. But you've seen Cliff Amore, who is just a freak in nature athlete. Talk about guys that haven't played a very long time. His story is a very good one. Left at age 14 and moved to New Jersey. No parents, no siblings, left him. And on a whim. Yeah, absolutely. So he specifically. There we go.
Okay.
So,
all right. Again, don't worry. Trust me, the fro is fine, brother. The fro is fine. Okay. I see
got my Wayne Dawson. Yeah. Got my Wayne Dawson working, man.
No, you don't. Your hair is real. I'm just saying.
Don't do that to Wayne. Don't do that to Wayne.
No offense, Wayne. Sorry, I know you're watching. But go ahead, Double J. Right quick. Go ahead.
Simply where I get nervous, if you will, is with double teams on very aggressive defenses. And the reason why is what it's forcing those to do is to kick out and, like you said, make somebody like a Foster or Fletcher, rather, Lawyer, and others, the supporting cast, who are more than capable, as you've seen. But between that and then defensively, I've told you this, stretching him out on that high, on the high pick and rolls, he can't really hedge, right? So he ends up
because he's too big.
But now he's starting to come out past that free throw line. And this is what makes Edey a little bit different than most big guys, is that he was a baseball pitcher and a hockey player. He wasn't a basketball player. So he's much more limber than anyone else we've ever really seen at that size.
Well, that I did not know. But in particular, you want to talk, baseball definitely, but hockey more so. You have to have some sort of agility to play hockey, regardless of what level it was. I don't care if it was peewees. As a matter of fact, I saw a clip of some peewees and they threw the gloves down. I mean, they was getting ready to go at it. I guess they're teaching them early. But anywho, with Edey, number one, you can't make the same mistake that North Carolina did against Villanova that one year. If you understand post-entry passing, because it is an art and a lost art, I might say. If you understand post-entry passing, there is never a time with his wingspan has to be greater than any player in college basketball right now, especially on the front court side. You don't post-entry pass to him in a position to where he has to bring the ball. He should never bring the ball down below his chin, ever. He should catch the ball high. There's a catch high, stay high, turn, and shoot. Anybody double teaming him, they're going to be. I'm telling you, it's those little nuances that we talk about in basketball. When you're big and you get the ball, you catch the ball high, you collect it high, you stay high. I don't know. I don't know. Should I say that again? I don't know if I should say that.
Yeah. Keep the analogy together. Yeah, keep it like that. I'm gonna tell you something. To your point, it's the reason why Kobe Bryant never beat John Sally in basketball playing one-on-one.
Thank you. And that's my man. Kobe's my man. This again, excuse me, y'all. I'm moving around here. I'm getting a little animated and excited. And it's not about always being right or wrong. It's none of that. I'm just saying, if you understand basketball and the nuances, the little things, they usually stand out in big games, especially the signature games. Signature players make signature plays in a signature game's most signature moments. Now say that fast 2 times. All I'm telling you is I've watched Purdue a couple of times this year. If Purdue does not waltz to an NCAA championship, it will be on Painter. This is
where I'm going to challenge you.
It'll be his fault.
A double team comes. Is your expectation that outside shooting must be decent?
Okay, well, it depends on how soon the double team comes, right?
A lot of it is on the catch, and usually it's from behind him.
Okay, so, well then, if that's the case, then catch it, then kick it back out.
But see, now you're forcing a perimeter shot, and you don't like it, and I don't really like it. They're capable of doing it, but
nobody's there. But when you throw the ball into Edey, wherever the double teams comes from is where that pass needs to go.
And again, it's that weak side. It's his blind side.
Kick it. Then somehow, someway. Well, he had no, but then that's Painter's fault. Listen, that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, man. I'm going to construct my offense in such a way that wherever that double team is coming from, if I have to use somebody else as a decoy to get Lawyer free, wherever that second man comes from, that's where Lawyer is going to be like they say in football. What was Peyton Manning so good at? Well, most teams, not Peyton Manning. Well, he was good too. But most teams that played the Colts with Dwight Freeney, what did they do? What did they do to stop Dwight Freeney? They threw a screen to his side. Let him come. Let him come. You want to slow down that pass rush? Let him come, and we'll fill that space right behind you, and we'll screen you to death. Now, that didn't stop him from being a great player, obviously, but it sure enough slowed the Colts down many a time or two.
So something that Rutgers did is something that Shaheen Holloway did with Seton Hall, which is it wasn't just a double. There were at times 3 to 5 people inside of the painted area.
Okay. How tall is Edey?
7'4". And this is where I think the difference between last year and this year really needs to show itself. It has, but that catch you're talking about, the hands, it's not so much his feet, it's the hands. He used to drop the ball, not just where he would want to come down with it, like you said, chest high. He couldn't catch the entry pass. Now, the ball that was thrown from Lawyer just against Michigan State the other day clearly shows that there was improvement there, and a lot of it, because it hasn't been that big of an issue. And that could be the difference of this year versus last. But what I foresee happening, especially with these other teams, they have nothing to lose. We've seen it with Nebraska. We've seen it now with Rutgers. And they won't be the only ones. So to your point, the outside shooting has been very off and on. And in the games that it's off, they're still finding ways to win, which shows that is a testament of truly great teams. But I don't like the idea of relying on college kids to have to be great three-point shooting teams like they expect in the NBA level. And
I'm telling you again, man, if Edey's hands are suspect, now that's a whole nother story. But if his hands are much better, if you throw the ball high to him, he's going to have the other team. I don't care if it's the number 1 team in the country or the number 100 team in the country. I don't care who's in the tournament. They're going to be in foul trouble. Where is he at? What's his percentage? Where's he at from the free throw line?
77.
He should go to the free throw line 20 to 25 times a game.
Well, and you know what? This is the very interesting. I want to challenge you both on this because you guys both are clearly very intelligent at watching the game and have a lot of years behind you. How he's officiated. He does not foul often. Now, Michigan State was griping about this, but they took 3 shots inside around the cylinder. That was the entire game.
Because he's too big. He's too big. He's just too big.
And Purdue as a team had taken almost 300 more foul shots than most of the other teams.
That ain't got nothing to do with officiating. Go ahead, Gully.
No, it don't. But I mean, if we look at those fouls and how they're getting and how they're drawn, right? We can. There's not a whole lot of home cooking you can deduct away from those, right?
That's my point.
and so if that's the case, then maybe you need to look holistically at defining how in which fouls or contact gets called, because it seems like if they're using the technique properly and they're following the rule book properly, there's a way to be able to get that done within the bounds of the game. Okay. And that disparity is showing up, because I mean, what I'm saying is it don't look like it's home cooking, right? And for it to be 300 more, that means wherever they at, they playing at home. Then
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, even when they in North Carolina, they
right.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say, man. I have yet to see a player like with that, a front court player like that. He's just the biggest. He's like almost like a Shaq in sort of way. He's a freak of nature, so to speak. That's why I mentioned the North Carolina team. Villanova was able to nullify what Carolina's bread and butter was, and that was going to Sean May and all of them down inside. Villanova extended their ball pressure. That's the only way. But if you, again, with him though, with Edey, if you understand Pep, post-entry pass, they win 9 times out of 5. They win. He's just too big, man. He's just too big.
You'd have to figure, you'd have to have has dynamic or exhausting an offense to beat that, because to maybe slow that down and contain it, it's going to be a very tough night for you.
I do not like how they use first, just the 4 in general, where if Edey is this finger and catches it with his back facing the basket, first kind of just goes right off, just on the opposite side of the basket. He's too close, and it allows the other defender to kind of play both, if you will.
That's on Painter. You have to design your offense around him. He has to have space. That's what I said. Yeah, it should be, I mean, you don't even need they could play 4-on-5 with him in the game and still win.
How do you look at his game versus Yao Ming's? I would love to see him work with Hakeem over something.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Oh. Yao was nice.
Megan is on record in saying that what she was personally worried about was his hook shot, that she said has enormously improved. And he is actually, depending on, which is true with most bigs, which is you're trying to push them a little further out when that entry pass comes in to disrupt kind of that flow that they have.
But how do you do that? He's too heavy.
He's 290 pounds.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. He's too heavy. If you get him the ball,
and they're doing a lot of this, and they're getting away with it.
Well, because I'm trying to tell you right now, if the refs called it every time, then the game would be 12 hours long. You can't. It's hard. There's not. I watched Purdue. They were playing. I watched the Michigan State, and I watched the Rutgers. Who else did they play this year? Well, who are they playing when Painter sat Edey down? It was like seconds left in the game, and they were about to lose. And he put him back in, and no sooner he put him back in, he hit the basket, and that was the basket that won the game. I don't know who.
Ohio State. It was.
Was it Ohio State?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was it Ohio State? Okay, maybe Ohio State. And I'm saying to myself, man, he's the one player in college basketball that will make or break the outcomes, win and loss. He's the one player. He is the one. I like watching him, because I'm like, how do you defend that? How do you defend? How do you guard that? How do you guard that? You can double team him, you can quadruple team him, and it just, if he keeps the ball, if he can catch the ball high and keep the ball high, I mean, he might get an offensive foul or two, because when he turned them elbows, maybe. But
that was something. But again, this is the beauty of his development. Before he got those elbow calls, which was no fault of his own, right? And that was the challenge then, and that was a gripe that I had 2 years ago. Yeah. He's now learned how to play with it, and so both what I'm worried about, because in the Ohio State game, which was similar to the Rutgers game, I actually think it was Braden Smith who didn't want to shoot the 3 at the Rutgers against Rutgers. But And at Ohio State, he held it high, and he was kind of like doing this, like he wanted to get rid of it rather than what he did against Michigan State, which was, and I don't know if that was he's following the play. I'm watching it from a spectator standpoint, and I'm saying, put that thing down. You've got the position. Take your shot.
Maybe it's in his head a little bit, because sometimes as a big, in order to make, if you're not going to take a shot, whether it be a hook or a turnaround, whatever, you want to put the ball down on the ground to do a spin and then maybe a layup or something. He's afraid to bring it down that low, because you're taught as a big, especially that guy that big, you don't bring the ball below your chin. But that's only if you're right there and you're going to turn to shoot, you don't need to dip the ball in order to shoot the ball. But you do need to bring it to the ground in order if you're going to do some sort of dribble type of move. Does that make sense? So if I catch it and my back is to the basket and I want to do a one bounce spin off the guy's shoulder and lay up, yeah, you got to put it to the ground. But that's a quick move. Catch it, boom, spin.
Give this kid a dream shake. He's starting to use the left now a little bit. He's starting to show a bag, which is
okay. But he's a sophomore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, for a guy his size, that's sad. That goes back to that old AAU thing or whatever it is. For a guy his size, there are two things in college for a guy his size.
He averaged 3 points at IMG as a senior, Jay. This kid was raw.
Okay, so he's a freshman. Really?
Yes. He has.
This terrible.
Is his 4th year of basketball in his life.
How do you go to IMG Academy at that? He's 7'4", you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's two things he should have. One, he should understand already going into college to keep the ball high. And two, he should be able to shoot, hook or whatever. He should be able to turn over either shoulder.
You could tell the way that they used him was.
He was just the tallest guy out there at IMG.
Right.
Yeah, let's start the show. This is unbelievable. All right, our first item on the menu is the lead off. Even though we kind of led off already. In the NWSL, this is the lead off now, mind you. Gully, you still with us? No, he's got his mic muted. He's still here.
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay, in the NWSL, that is the National Women's Soccer League, Alyssa Thompson, mind you, becomes not only the #1 overall pick of the National Women's Soccer League draft, but also the first high schooler ever. Impressive is an understatement. Double J, what say you?
So this is, and this is, this truly, you think of the all-time greats, the Kobe's and others that, Kevin Garnett's, those that came declared early and naturally had careers that were, that speak for themselves. When you think of the sport itself in this country, it is an equal parallel as it pertains to the women's game.
Right.
We could argue about the business, maybe mishandlings and mishaps within how they've approached with the NWSL specifically, but that's a different conversation. We're not talking about that. In terms of women's soccer in the global game, the United States is still bar none. So to say that this high school kid is capable of playing and being worthy of not only just the #1 pick, but naturally you're talking national team, everything else that comes with it. It really is, you are at that level. There's no denying it. It's a phenomenal achievement.
Of course. And get paid, young lady, get paid. Right out of high school.
She was at the Laker game the other day. Matter of fact, I was watching that.
I'm not surprised she should have been. Maybe no, don't tell me Brown is trying to recruit her too. Oh my God, wasn't Russell Westbrook enough? Yeah, I said it that way for a purpose. Gully, what say you? Are you impressed by this young lady being the first high schooler ever and #1 overall pick?
Man, that's pardon the phrase, man, but that's purely dope. I really hold on. Let me get back on the camera. I'm excited, and I like to see that. I really wish, even for myself, I got to make it more of a habit. I really wish we gave more attention to women's sports overall, except for when we want to showcase America's superiority every 2 years in the winter, and every 2 years in the winter and the Summer Olympics.
4 years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, the Winter Olympics, Lindsey Vonn is the greatest thing ever all over the Wheaties box until we're done with the Winter Olympics. And then, you know what I mean, Megan Rapinoe is the best athlete of all time until we're done with the Summer Games or the World Cup. The fact that, I'm surprised that I'm a little surprised, not to shun the sport of soccer, that it did take this long, because women's soccer's been elite in that way on the world stage for a long time. So
more so than the men here in America.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the biggest shame about it. Here, if soccer is the game that we want to be able to, if we want to be able to, further advance America's elite status, if you will, on the world stage, the women's game clearly does that. But we don't give it the support that we would. I mean, if the men's team performed half as good as the women's team. Yeah. We would be, yes, Madden would not, Madden wouldn't sell the way it sells, as a game in the States. So I'm a credit to her for becoming that number one pick out of high school. And I hope that it does help to further advance women's sports overall, and at the very least, women's soccer in terms of how it's represented and presented to us in the States.
Absolutely. Shout out again to Mrs. Thompson for being number one in both categories. And then secondly, this is minor league baseball. The electronic strike zone. Remember, now this was a thing a couple clicks ago.
What? Hang on. Whoa, why? Why? We have Angel Hernandez.
Oh, man, please. That's why they got an electronic strike zone. This is what I'm about to read here. This is because of him. Thanks, Angel. You sped up the whole process. The electronic strike zone will be used in all 30 Class A, AAA, parks in 2023. How soon do you think we will see it at the major league level? D. Gully? Hey, get down off that ladder, man. Don't do that here. But anybody got that kind of insurance, man?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We want fairness, right? We want fairness for sure. But when we start making it on the computer, I don't know, man. I'm concerned about it. I can't say I don't like it, but I don't like it from the position of it's how you gonna argue a call ever.
Yeah. Oh, so you're taking so that's that whole
see, because once the computer errors, right? Because once the computer errors, but it's called. Why would the computer, right? Once it's calibrated, why would the computer ever get it wrong?
That's an excellent point. So what you're saying is Angel Hernandez, maybe not him, but that human element is necessary. Yeah, because
it definitely is. Because guys, listen to the human. That's the whole point about it. The human eye, right? It's the eye test. All right, cool. It looked like it was a strike, but it was fair. But it was a ball. It looked like it was a ball, but it was called a strike. The idea of it is you're gonna be able to not to get the batter to hit the ball. So yeah, you can exercise and have liberties with the strike zone, because the strike zone is the element by which a player is supposed to be able to hit or miss. But if I can make that thing look like it's over here and it's over there, well, the computer's not gonna miss that. The computer is not going to. If the computer had to hit it, right? If you put the bots that they have at Boston Dynamics that's running and jumping and all that, you put them in the batter's box. See what they're going to do, and then judge that for parity, because that's where we at.
I'm kind of lost. I'm at a LOS double SS for words here. I'm trying to tell you, Double J, what you say?
It's very difficult as a season ticket holder. Look,
they should come down on ticket prices as a result.
Oh, well, potentially. You'd think, but no, of course it's an investment. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, somebody got to pay for those machines.
That's right. And I can't really, I like the human element of it. And with all algorithms and machine-based learning, there are variances.
Yeah, but the human element, what if it cost the Tigers game 7 of the ALCS?
Well, that's my point. And that was really Gully's point too, is that it's good for maybe under a challenge setting, right? The same way the NBA kind of goes back.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Or the NFL even has been held a little bit more accountable. They still have plenty of phantom calls or non-calls. Lions fans will certainly say their season could have been extended if calls would have been made, but there's no ability to challenge a non-call. So this is, again, where it gets interesting, because we've talked about speeding the game up. This sounds like slowing it down again. I hated going to a ballpark. I have the nice seats, right? Like kind of this one here, like the comfy chair. I called the other ones the sardine seats. I can't sit there and enjoy it. On top of that, you fry. So, feels like being a McDonald's fry. So it for me, I don't want to go there, and I want to enjoy it. I want to be able to relax and actually enjoy the game. I'm getting old. So when it's an hour in and we're in the 7th inning, I'm sitting here asking myself, what just happened? And so I feel like it's already a pitching dominated league, right? Why would we incorporate more things that would benefit pitching?
Well,
overcompensation for the steroid era. They're still apologizing to the fans for that.
I was kind of going that way too.
But should we bring in all the fences then? The Tigers, Miguel Cabrera literally tweeted, I've been waiting for this for 15 years for center field to get moved in like they are. They moved it in 10 feet.
I was just getting ready to say that the Tigers did that. I thought they did move it in. Yeah, Miggy would have had 900 home runs.
Yeah, see, that's the element of the game that for me, recognizing human element and human error, whatnot, the idea that ballparks, period, can be vastly different in terms of their sky. I mean, there's certain minimums that they have to have, but the outfields can be vastly different. The fact that the Green Monster existed ever compared to Jacobs Field, whatever, Progressive Field, whatever you want to call it, field, think about it. Progressive Field's ballpark was the reason ultimately why Roger Clemens didn't sign and instead went to the Toronto Blue Jays, because he didn't like the size of the ballpark. Yeah. We could have had that part of our history. Imagine Roger Clemens in 95 and 97. Anyway, all things considered, right? So to me, the pitcher being a machine that's going to get it wrong or get it right 100%, that's going to make the call, the definitive call 100% of the time, is not a problem. Actually, I'm leaning towards not liking it. You know what I'm saying? We can argue the controversy of because see, here's the thing. Here's the element we're missing, right? A bad call is auditable. We can look at the ref saying, you know what? You made horrible calls. It's going to cost you your ability to ump the ALCS or the World Series. When Scantron or NVIDIA pitching count machine make the call, what are we going to say? You know what, computer? You made a bad call. You can't ref the World Series. Then, hey, Skynet happens, and then machines come down, on Dodger Stadium and rain down supreme fastballs on us, and then we'll figure it out. We've seen this picture before. No, sir, I'm sorry. I cannot do this. What was it called? 2000 Space Odyssey? Yeah. 2001 Space Odyssey? Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I mean, well, again, right now they're just trying it in the minor league parks. I don't think this makes it to the bigs. I just don't. Because to me, it complicates things more. But I do like the idea of intermittently, if that makes any sense, using it. Like you mentioned, the NBA, using it in certain instances to then make or break calls. We can refer back.
Whoa. Hang on. Well, no, wait. Okay. Because think about it from a viewership standpoint, when we're watching just from home, we can see, right? Fox and whomever has their own strike zone. and where they believe it went. And in some cases, you can see it kind of cross through and, whatever the case may be. So your suggestion is essentially have that ability, but on demand. Like you only have from the 7th through the 9th.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it should be all game. Just maybe in a critical moment.
So should that also incorporate challenges? Because obviously challenges can also be outside of,
why not?
Outside of just pitching related things.
Yeah,
but
well,
we've taken away the shift. I just, there's some things that I don't know are just, I guess that would be beneficial to the batters, but I don't know.
You got to understand, man, there are no Tony Gwynns anymore. Okay, chicks dig the long ball. Everybody's hitting for home runs. That's why the Tigers are moving the fence in, man. Tony Gwynn was one of the few guys who would love to see the shift.
But this has been my issue with baseball because you're right. It's either strikeouts or home runs.
What else is it supposed to be?
Well, I mean, golly, think about it. Even look at the rule that with extra innings, starting a runner on second. That's how difficult it is to score runs.
Yeah.
I don't. What? Wait, what? I mean, is it? I can't even fix my word. Fix my brain.
You're trying to fix the light bulb there.
No. All right, it's so difficult to hit runs. Like, well, okay. How about they increase the weight of the ball?
So this was kind of what I was getting at, that we know we can manipulate the ball. It's been, whether that's both pine tar or I think that, what were they saying? They were soaking them or something at one point.
Yeah, I heard that too. Or just let the hitters use cork bats.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now we're talking about aluminum bats.
Let them use aluminum bats.
Yeah. Why not?
First of all, why are aluminum bats only used prior to the major league? Like, it's the only sport I know where it's fundamentally different once you get there. Like, I don't see an aluminum bat at all, but I don't see a wooden bat at all below that level. I mean, there probably are, but I'm just saying I don't see it.
Yeah, at the level of Vaughn play. No, they use aluminum bats at the level of Vaughn play there too, don't they? In the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
Aluminum bats.
Aluminum.
Yeah, aluminum. Yeah. Or platinum.
I would say this: if
it was on Snoop Dogg's team, it'd be platinum.
If they're using that machine, I'm guessing. I don't know how. I'd like to know how the implementation of that machine is used, but I'm guessing that if they use that machine, just like the reviews, that machine is at the stadium, and there are maybe 3 people who knows what that machine is reading. Every single call that machine is recording, nobody except for maybe 3 people know what that machine recorded. It don't flash. It doesn't make an audible or visual record of what it's calling. And the goal is, it's a guessing game. You want to challenge it? Hey, it's just like playing spades. Hey, you reneged on this book, and it's the 4th book. Are you sure? Let's look over. Oh yeah, you did play clubs, and you said you ain't had none. You see what I'm saying? Like that, whatever that machine says, you cannot be known to anybody aside from whenever they need to challenge a clutch call, and it'll be maybe 3 per game, or you don't get to challenge anything. The umps calls are made.
But see that, would it be an electronic strike zone? I'm sure the graphic people, like they do the first down line on TV or whatever, if you're the viewer, they'll still throw that little strike zone box up there on the screen too, though.
That's just like Harold Letterman's scorecard for a boxing match. To our eyes, we might see one thing, but then to the refs, to the judges, they're able to see it. They're able to see it a bit differently.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, that's fine. But I mean, to preserve the ability for this thing not to hand over strike calls. Because I mean, if you hand it over to it, like if this thing is going from one and this order in the course, don't even put a referee, don't even put an ump behind there. And then at that point, why is the machine just measuring that? Why can't the machine measure foul or fair?
So
now we're going down Avenue Lane, baby.
I'm going to read a quote from Chris Bryant, who actually was with the Isotopes at the time when it was first introduced, before it was, of course, naturally going to be rolled out. He said he was totally against it. In that, again, a quote is that I wish there was more of you have to have X percentage of the ball that crosses the zone for it to be a strike, because the ones that just nick the corner, that's the gray area. As a pitcher, you're like, maybe it's a strike. And as a hitter, you're like, I don't know either.
Yeah, complications. Let us move on. We will continue to follow this thing as it goes along, because all 30 AAA teams, all, not some, all. Yeah, stay tuned. All right, our next item up on the menu is the one that we all been waiting for, and that's Hooper Central. Steve Kerr, okay, then jumped out the plane at 65,000 feet with no parachute. Steve Kerr claims that Chef Curry is the Michael Jordan of this era. Oh, hold on, Double J. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not. Yeah,
I know. You're good.
Listen. I came down off this ladder. What is wrong with that statement?
What you mean? What's wrong with that statement?
Tell me what. Tell me what.
It's ambiguous.
How? How is it ambiguous? How is it ambiguous?
No, throw it back up there, Double J. Throw it back up there.
What's the ambiguity?
He can't just say Chef Curry is the Michael Jordan of this era. What do you mean by what? What do you mean? Steph Curry's what? He won Defensive Player of the Year. He was what? How many first team all defensive teams has he been on? How many? You see, you got to be specific when you say that.
No, he can be very general.
You can't. You from a global standpoint.
All right, so if we get listen, if we get to specifics, if we start zooming in on the lens, we can see that there are different shades of red and grays or whatever else. But if we scan out for him a bit, he says the Michael Jordan from this era. Before we parse that thing, we look at the time that Michael Jordan retired, and then even when he came back as a Wizard, the game was played. The best were judged on how they played the game compared to Michael Jordan. Not any other player. Same here. We look at the way the game is. Okay, go ahead.
No, hold up. Slow it down, Kimosabi. I need a 20-second timeout. When Jordan played, there were other players who were top dog in the league, but
like
Clyde Drexler, Sean Kemp, Reggie Miller.
Really?
You don't think Reggie Miller was a dog?
Do you mean to tell me that there was a closer distinction? There was a closer gap between Jordan's when we talk about the Jordan standard. You're saying the gap was closer between Jordan and his contemporaries than it is between Steph and his contemporaries?
No. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. When in Jordan's era, let's set Jordan to the side for a minute.
Yep.
We had guys, again, those other guys I mentioned, them guys was must-see TV.
They were.
Okay. There are more players along Steph's line, and no disrespect to Steph, but there are more players along Steph's line than there were Jordan. Jordan was just that much better than everybody else. And there was some guys in the league during Jordan's time, regardless of what people call them plumbers and all of that, them guys were some bona fide dogs.
So like I don't like
Raheem's and all of that.
I don't like making age jokes here. But you're a few listen to me. You're a few years older than I am, okay? So when Jordan arrived, right? When Jordan arrived, if this conversation happened 30 years ago, can't even say 30 years ago, 35 years ago, or no, about 34 years ago. Let's say this conversation happened in 1989.
Okay, we'd have
been saying Michael Jordan is the blank of this era. what would that player be? Who is that player that Michael Jordan would be the 80s version of? If Steph,
who would you say, Double J?
He said Magic Johnson.
What I'm saying to you is this, man. What I'm saying to you is this, because it is past my bedtime. So forgive me for the delusionals, okay? What I'm saying to you is this: I get where Steve Kerr is coming from, but there are too many players in today's game in the same line as Steph as opposed to when Jordan was.
I don't think so at all.
What do you mean, Giannis?
I don't think so at all.
And
no.
And LeBron, no. And I'm not no LeBron fan, but LeBron.
No, I know you're not a LeBron fan. I know, and I'm not either. No.
KD, Kyrie.
No, the gap is listen, the gap is almost as wide. Outside of LeBron James, because of his 20 years, Giannis, perhaps, because we're at Kevin Durant. There's not another player that I will put in that class nearer to Steph Curry's impact on the game, his ability to win clutch, his ability to the difference in the way his team plays with him out him on the court, and the way the game overall is played. Everybody's shooting from three.
So
Steph Curry's range is the reason why we've got more players. Steph Curry's range is the reason why we've got more players like a Kevin Durant who are shooting from range. Because if Steph Curry wasn't hot from there and wasn't making it influential, then the bigs would be big ball handlers and mid-range shooters.
Okay, so in other words, what about the Zions and the Ja Morants and the Jokers and the Jamal Murrays?
How close are you? They're closer to Steph Curry than Reggie Miller and Sean Kemp was to Jordan?
Absolutely.
No, not a way.
Ja Morant, of all people, what are you saying here?
Listen, hold on. We talk about as it stands right now. If you ask me about my bad, hold on. Double J been trying to get in here.
No, I ain't trying to get in.
No. I'm saying.
No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Double TH, double T. Okay. Are you sitting here now? If Curry,
you asking me if Steph Curry, hold on, because you just mentioned Ja Morant, and I'm saying we're talking about as it stands right now, league where it is now. We can see guys on the horizon. Ja Morant is definitely one of those guys on the horizon. But when we talk about, okay, all right, what NBA finals have they been to, and what championship have they won? Okay, because if we're talking about the Michael Jordan of the era, we are talking about definitively a ball player who's got a dynamic way of playing, who's unlike few others, and who has a consistency of winning. Winning in June. When we watch NBA basketball, we don't watch.
He lost. He was on that 73-9 team that lost too, though.
Jordan, once upon a time, lost to the Pistons for 3 straight years.
No, we talking about
so what? Nah, remember the question of his greatness. Michael Jordan.
Jordan ain't never been up 3-1 and took no L's.
Okay, Michael Jordan. Listen, there was an aura of doubt before 1991 because at that point, for the last 3 seasons prior to 1991, he had not been able to lead a team past the Pistons. Pause. I'm not done.
Oh,
because you do this all the time. No, just like in 2016, blowing the most epic of playoff leads with home advantage and with the best team possible, it was said that Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors were never going to reach that again.
But let me tell you why.
Okay, and look what happened. How many championships later?
Why were they the best team? Because of the number of games they won, right? Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons because of the level of basketball IQ mixed in with the physicality.
What they got to do with anything?
Hold on,
The question was whether he was going to be able to beat. The question was he going to be able to beat his greatest opposition? And at that point, it wasn't a why, it was a what.
It is a why.
No, it is not a why. Because here's why. Because guess what? To your point,
guess what? Bad boys. Who would you consider the bad boys of this era?
That's not the question. That's not the question. Because here's the issue. The issue is, okay, you're saying Jordan greatest opposition was a team that played the way that they played. Right?
But they played basketball too.
So Steph Curry and the Warriors opposition was the team that they go to practice with, because they epically let themselves down. They blew a 3-1 lead with home court advantage and lost Game 7 at home. Nobody comes back from that. Nobody come back from that.
Okay, so if you want to tell me that he's this Michael Jordan, because when you go to opposing arenas, you see Curry jerseys, because that's like you do Jordan jerseys. I might give you that, but you do not listen. We grew up in that Jordan era. Now, don't forget.
So who's the Michael Jordan of this era?
There is none.
That's impossible, bro. That's impossible.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's impossible. No. In the Olympics, every year in the Olympics, every Olympics. Hey, what is the thing that they do in the Olympics, right? Well, how do they mark the ceremony? What's the part of the Olympic ceremony, right? The most famous part.
Rest in peace. They let Muhammad Ali carry the torch. He almost burnt the city down. Come on, man.
Why'd you say that? I'm in Louisville. Kentucky.
Okay,
if people hear this, I ain't gonna be able to make it out, bro. Okay?
Well,
now I gotta definitely go to the center, because listen, my point is the custom is a passing of the torch. The point is
that torch to Giannis
over Steph Curry.
Okay, listen.
No, not a chance.
But here's okay.
Now that's just like saying, listen, that's just like saying, okay, who other than Jordan could get that torch? Maybe Barkley, maybe Malone, maybe Reggie Miller, maybe Sean Kemp. But who did?
So you mean?
And who did they get it from?
You mean to tell me that you're not at all factoring in what Jordan? See, that's what I'm saying. When Kurt says that, are you talking about what he did on the floor specifically, or are you talking about his impact globally, or are you talking about his impact locally in local arenas?
It's a holistic approach. That's why he said it. It's a holistic statement.
Steph
Curry and his impact on the game. You got to be kidding me, bro.
Jordan's impact was far more global than Steph's.
You gotta be kidding me, my man.
What do you mean?
Gotta be kidding me. All right, so even if even if Michael Jordan was more, listen, so that means there was no Michael. So to your point, there was no Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Dr. J.
So who did Dr. J get it from, bro?
From me.
And why did he pass it to Jordan?
I asked him not to, but I ain't had no choice.
Why?
Because Sam Perkins was on that team.
Because at some point, you got to look ahead. At some point, you got to look at Michael Jordan wearing the Wizards jersey. And factor that in as part of his legacy. Yes, you do.
Stop, man. Michael Jordan was 95 years old.
It doesn't matter. Nah, bro. Remember. No. Because if we had this conversation about another player, we'll look at his Jordans, we'll look at his numbers and compare them to somebody wearing a Lakers jersey.
No. I do not.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. Because when we talk, no. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Because when we talk about how we talk about how great LeBron James is playing at the age of 37, 38, 39.
Did you hear me say that? No, you ain't never heard me say that.
No, because you know what you do? Because you know what you do? Because you know what you do? No. I'm not telling you that you do. Because you know what you do when you hear that? You point to Michael Jordan's stats when he was a Wizard, doing the same thing at the same age. Remember, when LeBron did some record, some scoring number at the age of 39, people looked at Michael Jordan wearing the Wizards jersey doing the same thing.
But
so the point is, holistically,
I don't want to counter.
Okay, that's fine. But holistically,
we say about Rasheed Wallace, which Jordan we picking? The one with the Bulls or the one with the Barons?
No, you gotta pick them all. Holistically.
Oh, please.
Yes, without question. And are there challenges to that claim? Yeah. You know what? If Ron Harper would have stayed at Cavs, we might be having a whole different conversation.
Okay, so then Steph Curry.
But if it was Fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Is Steph Curry the GOAT?
I don't remember. There's no GOAT other than Bill Russell to me.
And there's no Michael Jordan. There's no Michael Jordan.
There's no GOAT other than Bill Russell to me.
Okay.
First of all.
All right.
But the best player I've seen, because I didn't see Bill Russell play, the best player I've seen is Michael Jordan. Next to him, probably Kobe Bryant. And like it or not, probably LeBron James. Because we got to look at 20 years of having a significant impact on the outcome of your season, of your franchise. And we still talk about, and we still
respect then how can you say that about, how can you, listen, I get you supposed
how can you say about Steph? Because when he went in,
but LeBron is still in the league.
Okay, great.
That's what I'm trying to say. How can you say that about Steph and LeBron is the same dude that been in this era too?
Because you know what, the thing about it is, when we talk about Michael, if we want to make that comparison, right? The one thing,
that's
the
difference problem, though. That's the problem.
Nah, because somebody got past the torch.
Okay, but here's the deal, though.
And we don't even consider Michael. We don't consider this era, Steph. Listen, we don't consider this era. Like, all right, let me ask you a question then. In 2014, when Kawhi Leonard led the Spurs past the Miami Heat, and Tim Duncan earned his 5th NBA title, was that his era?
Yeah, that was Duncan's era. Why not?
And LeBron had won 2 previous titles before that, and been to 4 finals before that. And why? And then when it wasn't him, it was Kobe Bryant winning 2 titles. And then when it wasn't him, it was the big 3. So it was still Tim Duncan's era.
So what makes it not his era?
The fact that he has instrumental as he was, he wasn't the leader of that team, of that franchise. And remember, the franchise was going to where the franchise went where Kawhi Leonard went. And we both know that. That's why the Zaire Pachulia injury changed the fabric of the league.
You mean the same Kawhi Leonard at that time, who Greg Popovich had to snatch up and say, "Man, take the shot."
Yep.
Because
that's why he said that to him. Because that's why he said that to him.
How can it be your era and you don't even want to take the shot? You're being
doesn't matter because it is. It is, bro. It is. You gotta be. It is. So even in that era, Tim Duncan won his 5th title. He was instrumental in winning that 5th title, just like he was instrumental in almost winning that 5th title the year before, because he had 20. He finished, I think, Game 7 in the loss. He finished with 24 points or something else. So I think he had like 24-7 or 24-10 or something like that. He had a quality game. Point is, without getting too far from the point.
No, I give you that. It wasn't Tim's era. Okay, I got you.
Right. So just like, all right, LeBron's success. Remember, LeBron's success ain't specifically predicated on him, because as great as he's playing, it's what Anthony Davis does. That determines whether they're gonna win a title, whether he gonna win a title. Just like Michael Jordan. I mean, just like Magic Johnson's last title was predicated on how well James Worthy performed. And Magic Johnson will tell you that himself. Great as you are, your era is still your era, and when your era is over, you can still be. Matter of fact, Kareem won his 6th title in '88. Was it his era? Was Kareem won his 6th title in '88?
Oh, Kareem.
Was it whose era was it? No. Doesn't matter. He still had the goggles. Hey, listen, he still had the goggles, and if you ask, is it Kurt Rambis? He still had hands, but it wasn't his era. So wasn't it Kurt Rambis that he gave the 1-2? Wasn't it Kurt Rambis that he gave the game? Huh? No. Who he put the hands on? Who did he do this?
No, that was the Milwaukee Bucks player.
In the
stomach. Yeah, okay, that was Chris.
Yeah. So that wasn't Kareem era, but he still was instrumental to winning to a team success.
The whole thing. My whole point of even saying this about Kerr, what I don't like is, I'm so sick and tired of the comparisons.
That wasn't a comparison.
That's what he's trying to do there. That was what he was trying to do.
No, it's about passing the
mic. It's
about passing the torch. Right. He know that Michael Jordan the best player he ever seen.
Well, then pass the torch to Kawhi.
Why? When did he feel like playing? That's my favorite player.
Why not?
That's my favorite player, and it's breaking my heart to see him. It's breaking my heart to see him do it like this. It's breaking my heart to see him like this.
Hey, come on, man. With all due respect to Steph, I am a Steph Curry fan because of what the national prognosticators and so-called experts said after his tournament run at Davidson, what they said about him coming out. That's why I'm a Steph fan, because he's a self-made player. So I don't take nothing from the dude. I'm on record for saying he's a self-made player. But here we go.
Don't that sound like what they said about this one guy coming out of North Carolina?
No, they didn't say that about Jordan.
Oh, they did not know he was going to be the greatest ever.
No,
they thought he was going to be good. No. Nobody expected him to be.
About Jordan coming out. No. They didn't say nothing near about what Jordan was coming out with. They about Steph.
What you mean?
Jay Billis, Seth Rogen, whatever his name is, whatever his name is. Go back and look at all. I don't know why I can't think of the guy's name. Go back and look at all of the so-called experts.
Right. They play. Yeah, he wasn't going
to say about Steph. None of them.
So if you're telling me, listen,
that was not the same.
All right. So I think you're helping make my point. Because every other player that you say that's close to Steph's era, they already had a great barometer for expectation for greatness. They knew Giannis was going to be that dude. They knew KD was going to be that dude. They knew that James Harden was going to be that dude. They definitely knew LeBron was going to be that dude. And here's the dude. Looking like.
They didn't know Embiid was going to be that dude. They didn't know Giannis was going to be that dude. They didn't know.
Yes, Kevin Durant did. That's why they drafted him. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. All the talk from Candy. Oh, listen, the Clippers did. The Clippers was, but the Supersonics knew what they were doing, drafting Kevin Durant out of Texas.
Hey, listen here. You're talking about Sam Presti. Sam Presti drafted Shea Alexander too. They just the OKC brass are just good at making picks.
All right. So tell me this. So you mean to tell me, all right, so of all these other guys that are close to Steph Curry, they didn't sound like the same pundits and critics that had good things to say about Michael Jordan when he came out?
I don't get what are you saying there? What are you talking about?
My point is the talk. All right, I'm going back to what you say. The guy since Steph Curry can't be considered the Michael Jordan of this era because of the guys you mentioned being so close to him in terms of their impact on the game.
What makes him the Michael Jordan of this era is what I'm saying.
Exactly what you said. The fact that he became the standard by which this game is played, when at first they didn't think he was going to make it past his third year.
Okay.
Well, it was talked about that he was,
So shout out to Gully. He finally got me. Finally. Okay. Finally. Because I don't have a retort for that. But I will. I'll come up one. He's not just Jordan of this era. He's not. Darn great. Jordan. There's no other Jordan. You understand? Okay, because Kobe patterned his game.
If he gets one more ring, does that change?
He'll have 5.
If he wins one more ring and a defensive player of the year and a first team all defense, because those things are a factor too. Because what made Jordan really separate him from everybody else back then in the era, especially where defense was the standard, is that he did what he did on both ends of the floor at a high level far more often than you could ever say or recall that he didn't.
Yep. And to your point, better than his contemporaries.
Way better.
Right.
Because whatever Jordan averaged in the regular season, and don't get it twisted, it's not like, unlike some people might say, it was some scorers back then in that era. Don't get it twisted. If Mike averaged 30 points a game in the regular season, when he got to the postseason, he was dang near 40. And still having to play in a short series when the game shortened down in a 7-game series in the playoffs, never having gone to a game 7. Don't go nowhere now, Gully. Don't run and get your tool belt now.
He didn't go to a game 7 in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
We got to be careful about that.
Why we got to be careful about that?
Because in 1998, there was a lot of doubt, and they felt like Reggie Miller and those guys were going to be able to do it. Coached by Larry Bird, forcing the game 7 against an Asian Bulls team. All the makers for an upset were there. Jordan became Jordan, but there was some doubt there. Now, it may not have been doubt from
Larry Bird for pulling Jalen Rose, who was locking him up.
Oh man, please. Let me tell you something. Y'all sound like the dudes when the Cavs swept the Bulls 6 times in the regular season. Excuse me. And everybody thought they were just gonna waltz through them in the playoffs. Yeah, right. Mike said.
So why would Jordan put himself in a position to go to a game 7 at all?
He didn't.
Unless exactly. So there was some doubt there. Yeah, exactly.
There was no doubt.
How is there no doubt? But he didn't want to go to a game 7. Personal. So why did he go to a game 7? As a matter of fact, did they have to play that game in Indiana?
They went to no, they didn't. It was for
game 7 was in Chicago.
It was for our enjoyment. That's what it was. It was for our enjoyment. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If they call you a Jordan apologist, If TJ call you an apologist, he just gonna have to run this back. I bet you didn't flag any of these comments, did you?
I sure didn't. But guess what?
You being a Jordan apologist?
You never call me
he got
Jordan
you on
apologist.
this one.
I'm just talking just from a basketball standpoint. When it comes to favorite players, that's a whole nother subject. I'm the little guy, the Nate Archibalds, the Kevin Johnsons, the Mark Prices, the Rod Stricklands. Them was my favorite players growing up. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Right. That's why I wore number 7 and number 11, Terrell Brandon. Shout out to my man Terrell Brandon. Oregon Duck, baby. Cleveland Cavalier, baby. Yeah, when I play intramural at OU, you better check my stats and my records. You understand what I'm saying? Ask Gary Trent about me. That's what you better do, baby. BSJ. Anywho, we're going to throw something here up on the screen right quick. I just want to let everybody know prior to us showing this here. This is not, how do they say it? Okay. I'm not the author of this music. How do they say it? What am I saying here? Don't scroll, Double J. I'll go back to the video, will you?
Well, no, okay. I'm going to show what started this.
Okay. I'm not responsible for this music, this video, this sound, or nothing. This is not mine. But I had to show this on today's program because it speaks to something that we've been saying here throughout the 427,000 shows that we've done. And it's been a consistent theme of ours. So roll the tape.
All right, let's get it up here. I'm going to add it to the stream now. All right. And here we go. Oh, no. Hang on.
Pardon us, ladies and gentlemen. Our cinematographer, I don't know what's going on. He must be on the Lucia.
There we go.
What in... Oh, my gosh. We got Ryan.
Third graders.
Third graders. Okay. Ryan, are those the Thundercats? Oh, all right. We got the Thundercats going on here. Okay, so now what are we seeing here, Double J? What is this pertains to?
Well, look at the again, third grade, right? The level of showmanship, if you will.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, got you.
Look at that, too small. In third grade, we're saying too small. All right. So what this does is now we're going to go to the clip that really was the response.
Okay. Yes. Will we hear the audio? Please tell us we heard the audio.
Yes, this one will have audio.
Okay, gotcha.
In basketball are forgotten now, and they're not appreciated. And it's like a trickle effect, even to like the analytics of numbers and stuff. Like certain guys don't get paid what they value in basketball, what kids think are cool. I'm gonna try to make this as sweet as possible because this really does bother me. I talk about this all the time. When I played in high school, you only got a mixtape if you were like a top tier guy. Back then, like you had to put in work, like consistent work, build a name for yourself to get a mixtape. And it was like an honor to have a Ball is Life mixtape. It was an honor to have a Hoop mixtape. We didn't play to have one though. I didn't go into a game doing something to be on Hoop mixtape. I went into the game to win and just be myself. And Hoop mixtape and them were there following me. I didn't ask Hoop mixtape to come follow me. I didn't pay Hoop mixtape $1. I didn't pay Ball is Life $1. They just followed me because I was that guy. They followed Brad Beal because he was that guy. They followed this guy because he was that guy. That's how it was. The landscape has changed now. Parents are paying these people to come to games. Everyone gets a mixtape. Everyone looks at the camera now and taps on their head when they dunk on someone. And it's all highlight after highlight after highlight. And now only kids watch highlights. They don't watch the actual basketball game, the purity of the game. Making a hockey pass, which means making the right pass. No, you're not going to get an assist. You're driving to make a play so someone else can make the play to get an assist. Diving on the floor, talking on defense, playing defense at all. Shooting good shots, making the game easy, being efficient with basketball, and scoring off 1 or 2 dribbles rather than 15 dribbles. This whole thing, and I only named like 12. There's 50 of them has been forgotten about in basketball, and you're seeing it with some of these guys that come in the NBA. I can name you names, but I'm not going to. That come into the NBA and have all the talent in the world, but like they need to be taught basketball because like this is what basketball is now. Like highlight culture has absolutely, it has killed the game of basketball. The little
shout out to the ringer. Hopefully we'll get Gully back in here. Hello, thank you. This is what Barbershop Jay has been saying for eons. Hello. This is what TJ, I hope you was watching this. I hope you better not. Let me see your little face pop up here. I'm blasting you. You understand? Show this to all your friends in the locker room. You understand? I'm trying to tell you, since how I'm a hater. Okay. Is he hating too? And we all know who that is, right? We know who his brother is, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Double J, you got something you want to say? Because believe me, we'll be here for another 12 hours if I keep going.
Well, look, I've told you, given the access that I have, you learn that there are players that, as Austin put it, have an enormous sum of talent, and you learn that they hate the game, and it was very mind-boggling for me, right? The fact that you could pay me millions and I'd do just about anything, but to see, and I think this is why I'm very thankful for the school that I actually support, because they do it differently. They do it essentially what he's talking about, right? That point guard we talked about is the 136th rated point guard, and yet fundamentally is astute. Above, I would be really hard pressed, and I'm sure you would agree, to try to find 100 and maybe 100, try to find 5 better than him in the league in the collegiate game at the moment. So with what he's pointing out is true. I'm guilty of it, right? I'm recording, as I sent you the one clip today of him of Aiden blocking a shot, but the rationale behind it is, my expectation isn't for him to make it to the league. It's more so just, hey, this is what, again, people have short attention spans. This is really kind of a macroeconomic issue, and this is something that the league itself is facing, right? Everyone wants to see mixtapes, and is this a result of 20 years removed from And One? Where the Harlem Globetrotters, did we do this to ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like in college football, when the high school recruit sits on ESPN, because they are to blame too, and in front of I don't know how many sets of folks and viewers and whatnot, and announces what hat he's going to pick to go to Georgia or TCU or wherever the case may be. And the one guy's mom got up and left and got mad at him. What you mean you ain't going to Clemson?
Well, look at the NFL, right? The NFL has red zone. It has red zone. We just talked about Major League Baseball. You're starting with a runner on second base. Why? Because the object of the game is to score. And what we're trying to do is be able to increase that visibility of that. So we in essence are a product of our own. We created this beast, if you will. And now we have to figure out, right? Because we've pointed out with folks on this very program that they don't have the voice at the coaching level that they used to have. So,
Dean Smith wouldn't work nowadays. Oh, no.
Look at Mike Woodson at Indiana. He's struggling at IU. And this is a guy who's been there and done it, and it's just not translating anymore. John Beilein attempted to do it with Cleveland, and Andre Drummond said, we're not college guys, and he got fired the same week.
But that's the problem. Folks want their cake and they want to eat it too. Because that's one thing about sports. No matter how much manufacturing you do, it's going to always be a moment or 2 or 3 where the game's purity shows itself, no matter what. That's just the way it goes. And then folks want to get mad when that call is not made, or when that ball is lost out of bounds, or when the pressure gets to a guy and he drops a pass in a critical moment. That happens. Those are moments that you cannot take out of the game. But everybody wants to manufacture scoring and the analytics and all that kind of stuff. I said, okay, all right. Do all of that in the regular season, NBA. Have your 82 games and score 145 to 140. But the playoffs are going to say, come and see us. Come see us.
Well, and here's the thing. We want to talk ratings. FIFA World Cup final, 1.5 billion.
But do you know why that is, though? Because you can't do that in soccer. You can't get it. Soccer is what soccer is and was and still is, and it's going to always be. You have to, those guys, you can't mess with it like that. You can't mess with it like, you can't say, hey, man, go out and get 40 tonight. We're going to let you just jack up 45 shots. No, you need an Mbappe, you need a Messi, and you need everybody else out there that plays. It's the naturality. Is that a word? Okay, I don't know. Is still there in soccer. You can't get away from it. And that's probably why it's the draw that it is internationally.
So you're going to see, right? Oh, I want to hear Gully's take on this.
Okay.
Did he hear it?
I don't know. Let me see. Gully, did you hear what we were just discussing?
I lost connection at the replay of the video about the standards, about a mixtape.
Okay. You want to play it again, Double J?
No, you ain't got to play it all.
Okay.
From what I heard enough to make an opinion on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the natural degradation of quality and what the standards. Like, why was that exceptional? It was exceptional because it was somebody that was a standout that was playing at such a great and proficient level. Now it's at a point where it's become necessary marketing material. So we're going to get you're going to get a lot more average passing for success because they're simply following the standard, following the blueprint. Remember, it's like this, right? What we're looking at, especially when we see the young men, when we see the young men, they're imitating the shucking and jiving and the
small.
Yeah, right. We're doing what they see, right?
Emulate.
They see, they're emulating what they see, but they don't emulate. They're not necessarily emulating what goes into it. See, so with Steph Curry, I know we brought his name up a lot today. It's shimmying and shaking, and he's shooting a 3-pointer from like 37 feet and looking at the sideline before it reaches its apex because he knows it's going in. Well, how many thousands of shots did he have to shoot to know what it feels like for that to happen? These kids ain't even get an eighth of that.
Rhythm. It is. That's a natural. You
right.
know when your shot going in.
So you know when something leaves your hand the way you intended to, whether it be a shot, whether it be a football pass, whether it be a bowling ball, whether it be a pitch. But what we're not seeing those highlights. Like if we really want to change what we see in terms of the showmanship and the showboating, we need to see mixtapes of those drills. We need to see mixtapes of Steph Curry having a rough practice where his rhythm ain't there and his coach is barking at him like, Steph, what's going on? Remember who you are, so on and so forth. We ain't seeing that.
I want to point something out. You brought up even just the nature of practice. So again, I'm pointing out that we created this. Everything from the Harlem Globetrotters to the N1 mixtape, amongst some of the other factors that they've thrown in here. But there was a video that's circulating now of Red Auerbach with Pistol Pete doing regular ball handling drills.
Yep.
And you know how old that video is?
Yep. And you know why I need to stay.
All three of us combined.
Yes, it is. And it needs to stay in rotation.
It do need to. And the Magic Johnson defensive drill.
Yes.
Do you know the one where he shuffles from the top of the foul line all the way across and then down? Oh,
yep.
You all haven't seen that? I'm talking about this on VHS. I know I'm ancient. So
yeah, even with the squigglies for the fast forward and rewind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the whole point. You all young folk see the finished product. This is why I continue to say the sampling size that I have is larger than yours. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right and yours is wrong. I'm just saying this. I have more to go off of. Okay, give me give me more information, and I'm pretty sure I can come up with an argument to battle yours and theirs and his and hers. I saw your favorite player and my favorite player. You see highlights of my favorite player and see your favorite player. How do the two weigh one against the other? They don't. Yours is down here, mine is up there. Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, at the end of the day, you all are seeing the finished product, but you're not seeing what you have to do with the things that go into what becomes the finished product. What we used to do, and then again, I don't know, if it's the video game era, the PS5 and the Xbox era, maybe that in the social media, maybe that does have a lot to do and it does weigh a lot in it, I guess. But we would watch our favorite player. With college basketball, there was a purity in college basketball that you saw translate to the NBA level. So we would watch our favorite, like a lot of these NBA players that I talk about that I grew up watching. I watched them at Mark Price at Georgia Tech, John Sally at Georgia Tech, Rod Strickland in the Big East, DePaul. The Big East Conference at one point was the only conference in college basketball that experimented with 6 fouls. Okay, so I think it was from like 89 to 92 or 93 or something like that. So the Rod Stricklands and the LaFonso Ellis's, well, he went to Kansas, I believe. Who was the guy that went to Louisville? Can't think his name right now. Anyway, we will watch these guys over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we would go out in the backyard and do the move. Whatever Rod Strickland's favorite move was, and Kenny Anderson, left hand behind the back, come back and lay up. I said, how did he do that? So we would watch it, videotape it, slow it down. Videotape it, slow it down. And we would do this because we were committed to the sport. Because the one thing, it was so important to us to be able to use that move at the park. And we would go try to move. Even when we didn't have the move down pat, we would try that at the park and we would get embarrassed. But we would be smiling. They'd be like, man, what you smiling for? You just got dunked though. You said, that's okay, because y'all don't understand. I'm working on something and I'm about to get it. I see all what I got to do when I go home to get it all away. And we would walk through first. And then we would do it a little quicker the next time. And then a little quicker the next time, a little quicker the next time. And each time in between them times, we was using it at the park. Until that one day.
So wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It was behind the back, between the legs, layup, no look, kick out. Oh, Jay, you see what the move, baby? Yeah. I didn't care if I didn't score another point or did nothing else in the game. I got that move down pat. But it took me weeks, young fella, weeks. Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, weeks.
Michael Jordan did that.
Did what?
Was meticulous at,
of course,
putting in the work, and then you've seen what the end result was.
Of
Kobe
course.
Bryant was like that. You brought up we brought up, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because just a segment ago we talked about another player who he had to put in that level of effort to reach the heights that he has, which is Steph Curry, which is why I agree with Gully that, because there's your direct comparison. In an era, a highlight era, this undersized kid who was put down overcame all of that and became an all-time great.
Yeah, but the only reason Steph didn't get the love he was supposed to get coming out is because he went to Davidson.
His dad was still Del Curry. I don't understand that.
But that's not what they were judging him on. He went to Davidson. Believe me when I tell you, had Steph Curry had that tournament run for North Carolina or Duke, man, please. You really?
I think it's more impressive that he did it with Davidson than.
But
I was there. I was at Ford Field. I watched it with my own eyes.
Okay, but the naysayers had the national naysayers had naysaying to say naively because he went to Davidson. You know, they don't give Davidson no props, man. Like, how many people remembered Harold Arsenault?
Yeah, to that point.
One of the greatest tournament runs in NCAA history. Went to Weber State.
Right.
Harold Arsenault did what he did at Weber State during that year. They ran in the tournament at Michigan or Michigan State. Man, he would have been a number one pick.
Yeah, no, to that point, we look at somebody who in fact was perhaps as injury prone. We look at how lauded Kyrie Irving was for playing 11 games at Duke and becoming the number one pick and then not being a question. It was not even a question.
Thank you. Now, do you really think that if Kyrie Irving had went to Murray State, that he would have had played 11 games and got picked number one?
John Morant only went to, I believe, the Sweet 16. He didn't have some kind of crazy
But John Morant was jumping.
What school did he go to? What school did he go to?
He went to Murray State.
Okay.
Yeah, but John Morant, that's what I'm trying to tell you. When you go to those small schools, you have to be. John Morant was just off the charts.
Well, okay, what about Dame? Didn't have the tournament run.
Yeah, but where was Dame selected though? because a lot of people was doubting Dame
like
too,
13?
though. Yeah, a lot of people was doubting Dame too. And where did Klay Thompson go? Nobody expected that.
I hate to say Harden.
Okay. Harden, what you guys want to say? Harden was guard. Don't please. Let's not even go down that road.
I mean, there are definitely going to be exceptions to every rule, right? Okay. So yeah, so to that point, we might find some that may betray our attention, but
whoa, Dwayne Wade, Marquette.
I mean, now we took him to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, but Marquette
used to be a Final Four.
Yeah, but Marquette was a Big East powerhouse.
Four, yeah.
Marquette was a Big East powerhouse, though. Marquette is not on the same level as Marquette is not the same degree as Davidson. Man, stop it. Everybody know who Marquette is, man. You need to cut me in and cut it out. Is the super team era a thing of the past? We need to keep things rolling here. We still got to get to our gridiron. Gully, is the super team era a thing of the past?
I think so, but it's I don't know. Maybe we might see it silhouette. Like it's fading. You know what I mean? Like it's like sundown. This year. I mean, listen, be honest with you. We're giving Russell Westbrook a lot of slack or a lot of we're bemoaning the way it worked out, but that's definitely a super team. You don't put a three season triple double player with the to that point the era's greatest player, to that point the era's greatest center, and not call it a super team. And somehow the only reason why you don't call it a super team is because it didn't work. But that's on the players you put around it. No, because Russ wasn't part of the bubble.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm just saying. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. But what defines a super team? Because in theory, the Cavs have a phenomenal pick in Spider Mitchell, who obviously has the accolades, individual accolades. Then you have top draft picks.
Yeah, like but a super team, you would have a super team would have. Yeah, but a super team would maybe qualify as a LeBron, Bosh, and a Wade.
That's where you take, where you taking three
guys that's established that.
I kind of disagree because if they're top 5 picks, if they're lottery picks, so I'll even expand it a little bit further.
Whose top 5 picks are lottery picks?
Well, I'm just saying in general, just by definition, it's a lottery pick. If your team is built with lottery picks, if the Pistons next year, as an example, we'll say they succeed in tanking for Victor,
they're going to get Victor.
Assuming the
makers will make the play in.
If they do, and now you have 3 top 5 picks on one team. Is that not it? No, I'm sorry. There would be more than that because Marvin Bagley was.
Yeah, but what makes a super team is the hardware, the sort of not literally but figuratively, what comes behind it. You can get the picks.
So you're saying they have to meet NBA accolades, individual accolades.
Well, they have to. They're franchise players. They're NBA franchise players on their own, and then they combine. Like Kevin Durant had not yet won an NBA title before he joined Golden State.
Yeah, hang on, but we'll use that example. Look what Oklahoma City team did in a very similar build that I'm referring to, which was Nick Collison, then it was Russell Westbrook, and then it was Durant. That they had built team with lottery picks.
Yeah, but were the Warriors even when Durant joined them, were the Warriors considered a super team? No, the super teams were considered that Celtics team with Garnett. Team. Yeah, but nobody really. I don't recall anybody really looking at the Warriors as a super team. That Garnett team with the Celtics, Paul Pierce, Garnett, and who else was it there?
That's what I'm saying. These are franchise players. It's like at least three players, franchise players in their own right, coming together to form a team. Like, all right, so the Lakers, the Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant Lakers are a failed super team. An epic failure as a super team, but that's what that would be. Right. Right. What the Nets tried to do with acquiring Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett at the end of their career. Then I think about
Martin and Vince Carter.
Now, see, I don't know Kenyon Martin and Vince Carter. See that? I tell you what, that one.
Not
I think they
Kenyon
might.
Martin.
Well, no, he was drafted to the Nets.
Yeah, but Kenyon Martin.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Wait a minute. Was he a Nugget first? No, or was he a Net first? He was a Net first.
He was a Net first. Remember,
okay.
he was with them, if I'm not mistaken, when they went to the finals twice.
Yes, correct.
With
he was.
Kerry Kittles and Keith Van Horn.
Yes.
Richard
Jefferson. Right, but could you could you see Kenyon Martin on
that wasn't a super team? That was my super team on NBA Live at the time. 2K wasn't it yet.
Yeah, but could you see Kenyon Martin on a franchise like Kevin Love was for the Timberwolves by himself, or Bosh was with Toronto? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God!
No, I'm not saying it, but Kenyon Martin was not what Kevin Love and what Chris Bosh was by himself.
I
don't know.
Kenyon Martin was a dog, but he was not the scorer. Kenyon Martin wasn't doing what he was doing to the level of what Bosh was doing for Toronto. You take Bosh was the
man. I'm gonna have to look that up because I think he was close.
Yeah, look.
No, because I think his problem was he played in Denver when he got to that, and Denver was small market.
Denver, maybe.
Look who was on his Denver team: Iverson, Carmelo.
Yeah, okay.
That might have been a super team. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you is, Bosh was the guy on the Toronto Raptors.
Yes, he was.
Kevin Love was the guy on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes.
Kenyon Martin was not the guy. You had Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Richard Jefferson, Barbershop J. I didn't get a lot of PT. I was like James Harden once upon a time in my day. I was in the clubs. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about that part. But I'm just saying, they were Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin was not the Kenyon Martin was not the no. The Nets were not a super team. They were a nice collective, but they were not a super team. Is them three or four core guys that individually they could lead franchises maybe to a first round or something.
Didn't they go to back-to-back finals?
Yeah, but how many they were loaded. They were loaded. That was loaded. They were loaded. I'm just saying. That's why I was asking the questions. Are we, as a super team era, over? No question.
But wait a minute. Where do you draw the line with their prime?
Who?
Because
I don't know.
Some of the examples you threw out.
You want me to call TJ? Do I need to call TJ?
Well, no.
Nah, because one of the arguments to be made about the Celtics is that those players were great, but they were past their prime. So the Celtics' big three was a team that got together past their prime.
All right.
All right. Yeah, and then before that, the Rockets' big three with Pippen and Barkley and Hakeem, they were all past their prime. But the Heat weren't.
Yeah, ring the bell.
The Warriors weren't. Yeah, the Warriors weren't with Kevin Durant being added to the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. They were all in their prime.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Last question for Hoop Central, and then we'll move on to the Gridiron. I want to talk about some of this playoff talk. And then this little piece I got to read in regards to Mr. Hamlin, the Bills player who we all know by now, obviously, is much better than when he collapsed on the field a couple weeks ago. No question, Shai Alexander, OKC Shai Alexander, is an all-star. Is he a starter in this year's all-star game is my question, Gully?
I'm going to have to defer, bro. I'm out of the game. I can't even make a comment on that. I'm so sorry.
Double J. This is why I spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. You know, I'm going to send you something. I want you to throw this up on the screen too right quick. But yeah, go ahead. In the meantime, no words from you either, Double J?
No. Wait a minute. I'm trying to see if I can I believe I can make the case, but it comes down to position, right? So now you're talking in the Western Conference shooting guards. Look, Booker's hurt. So, he's
not going to start over Ja, unfortunately.
What?
I'll save you the trouble. He's not going to start over Ja.
I don't know. Well, not over Ja, but could he? So this is where kind of that favoritism element should, you're going to have Steph in there, but should Steph start? You're going to have Clay in there.
Steph is
going.
I mean, we just said 47 minutes ago, Steph was this era's Michael Jordan. Well, you're not going to start Jordan? Are you not going to start Jordan? Come on, who you going to start? Who you going to start? Huh? Kevin Johnson, one of my favorites, by the way. No disrespect. Who you going to start? Gary Payton?
But was Kevin Johnson ever really putting up these numbers?
I'm just saying. We're talking about this guy's this era's Jordan.
This dude is averaging 30. When was Kevin Johnson for a career? Or I'm sorry, for the year.
Okay, that's my point. That's my point.
He's having an MVP year.
Yes, he is. And his team is winning. Lightweight.
They're in the mix. You ask yourself, talk about teams that could do something. You throw in the Chet in a year. I know you love that. And someone else.
Oh, here we go again.
I told you we've gone through this on a show. Gully, you got to look at how many picks this team has. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the OKC is ridiculous. They got 472 million picks in the next 2 years. OKC got 4 years worth of first round and second round picks, man. They can pick the whole draft. You know what? I don't even. What's the point of a lottery next year or the year after? For what? They might as well just. Everybody might as well just represent OKC next year.
So actually, I'm gonna bring this up now. The Lakers are there's 4 players averaging 30, and I brought this up on a past show too, and I didn't think I would have to revisit it for this reason. Bogdanovich for the Pistons is one of the players over 30 that's averaging over 20. Obviously,
for the Pistons,
yeah. LeBron and Durant are 2 of, and I think Kyrie's the 4th. So the Lakers are interested in acquiring him. Obviously, he fits every bit of the mold that you're referring to from a Buddy Hield.
They should have got Buddy Hield. I've been
Indiana's not going to give him up now because it's working with Halliburton.
Of course not. Yeah, because he's balling. Yeah. So how old is Bogdanovich? Bogdanovich is how old?
33.
33. Right. So he's got what, 2 minutes left? His career. That's right.
This is his prime. So
exactly. And Bogdanovich is and Buddy Hield is how old?
Oh, he's in his mid-20s.
Exactly. He don't even have a mustache yet. See what I'm saying?
Well, it ain't happening now.
Well, it's a done deal. Exactly. It's a done deal. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, I can't always. I might not always be right, but I'm never wrong. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Anyway, Gully, you still with us? We getting ready to move on to hoops. The Gridiron. Yeah, we getting ready to do that. Let's move things right along for our last item on the menu for this day's program. Gridiron. We all know again what happened to Mr. Hamlin, Buffalo Bills safety, right? And apparently he seems to be getting better each day, but and I'm grateful for that, by the way, for sure, man. Because from my understanding, they say he basically checked out of here twice on the field. Well, we got a comment rolling in. Oh, shout out to Miss Gatewood. We appreciate that.
Oh yeah. This guy with all his friends.
Thank you, Miss Gatewood. All right, that's right, Miss Gatewood weighing in. You understand? You don't mess around here. Miss Gatewood already know. This is the shop report, baby. This is how we do it at the barbershops and the beauty salons. They get down too. Now I went in there. I'm trying to tell you, I came out. It was rough in there. Them ladies don't play. But
yeah, you took your hat off, and they were like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, you're right. This stuff. This is unbelievable. Where was I at here? Yeah. I don't even know. Oh, okay. Yeah, got you. Anyway, yeah, right. Okay.
As soon as that comment went in, Gully's glasses got all foggy. You see the smile coming. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell no. Anywho, but there has been an instance where a player did actually die on the field in an NFL game. If you're not familiar with, let me familiarize you with Lions player, former Lions player, Chuck Hughes. And let me read a little something on Mr. Chuck Hughes right here. Bear with me for about 75 minutes. And of course, it didn't. Oh my gosh, I cannot stand Boost mobile phone. Oh, it's here. Oh, sorry about that. I was getting ready to get a little upset. All right. And I'll just read a little bit here. Remembering the tragic day Detroit Lions Chuck Hughes died on the football field 50 years ago. On a gloomy, damp afternoon, more than 50 years ago, as I just mentioned, 54,418 excited football fans made their pilgrimage to Tiger Stadium. Double J, you still go there? To see if the Detroit Lions, sporting a 4-game winning streak and tied for first place with the Minnesota Vikings in what then was the NFC Central Division. It still is, isn't it? See, this is what I mean when I tell y'all all the time that like the transmission on a 68 Buick that's been sitting in the garage too long, the mind do be slipping. Pardon me while let me get that. I got a private chat here going on. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay, that's my man. Okay, Gully. All right, got you. All right, appreciate that. Let me continue. Excuse me. Local radio listeners will listen to the Lions against the Bears. Obviously, this was the time when Dick Butkus, Mr. Butkus, was doing his thing. With the Lions, yeah, because sometimes the NFL do be lying. With the Lions in a 2-minute, sometimes all the time. With the Lions in a 2-minute drill and trailing 28-23, little used Chuck Hughes, who entered the game in the fourth quarter, replacing the injured Larry Walton, made a 32-yard catch from quarterback Greg Landry for a first down, at the Bears' 37-yard line. Now, bear with me. Let me get to this part here where after Hughes' first down catch, Landry threw the ball out of bounds to stop the clock and then appeared to connect with end Charlie Sanders until the tight end was slammed to the ground by Dick Butkus just as the ball arrived. With 1:02 showing on the game clock, the 28-year-old Hughes began running back to the huddle when he suddenly grabbed his chest. He dropped face down onto the turf at the 25-yard line. And unfortunately, a few players from that time and that era, they had a few things to say. A couple of players said, hey, I thought he was just, like we see some guys do sometimes fall down for an injury, just to, so the other team they use, so they'll use a timeout or just a stall or whatever the case may be. And a lot of players thought that was the case at the time. But in particular, former Detroit radio and television personality Tom Ryan, he had this to say. We didn't have a portable radio or binoculars with us, and we assumed Hughes had been knocked unconscious. But then it progressively looked more serious with the medical personnel out there for so long, and with the crowd becoming eerily so silent. Then Lions team physicians Richard Thompson, Edwin Geis, trainer Kent Falb, and assistant trainer Gary Tuthill then went onto the field, and after removing the receiver's helmet, guys began administering mouth to mouth. And while he was, of course, trying to, do CPR, and resuscitate him or whatever, they said, when the guy said, when I got to Chuck, it was an athlete trainer's worst nightmare because he was not breathing and was extremely pale. They came out with a gurney to transport Hughes to Henry Ford Hospital, 3 miles north of the ballpark. So at the end of the day, again, without going into the full story, you can go to USA Today if you want to read the full story on Mr. Hughes. But when we had talked about this previously, as have been all of the national shows and such, and rightfully so, because even though we say, and what did I say last week? You look at the NFL, and of course we love watching it as a sport, but it's a violent game. Do those two words even go or belong in the same sentence? I don't think so. You know what I mean? But I had a book I was telling Double J before we came on the air here. I had a book about old football stories. And we had been discussing the Hamlin situation because you just don't see that. You see guys get, you see gruesome injuries, but for a guy to collapse and then find out later on that his heart has stopped twice, that just takes it to a whole nother level, man. I mean, you start thinking about your own mortality, things that you don't normally think of. And in some cases, God forgive or forbid, things you take for granted.
Right.
All of a sudden, those things definitely come, they start to weigh in or whatever it is. I started thinking about whether or not if there was the story. I said, man, I think I've seen this before somewhere along the lines of growing up reading about football. I believe that happened before, actually happened. So I got to digging, and I found this story on Chuck Hughes. So
yeah,
if you want to read the full story.
Interestingly enough, so this is how the game has changed, because we used to celebrate those things.
When you say celebrate those things, what do you mean?
So, indirectly, what comes to mind for me in 97, I believe, I was watching Michigan, and again, I was a kid against Penn State, and there was a particular hit that I loved it. When it happened, it was just a true car crash. Oh yeah, right into the sideline. And ultimately, that was the last play that gentleman ever played. And it only recently, in this past year, that I see them revisit that particular game and have commentary. So I'm glad that individual's, well. But, when you think of it, I used to have a Lions VHS in the early 90s, and there was a player that kind of Chris Spielman gave a thumbs up. And he was done. You think of, Shannon Sharp's brother, right?
Sterling.
You think Sterling Sharp, but with this particular game that you're referring to, they finished it. And you got to remember, so Bears defensive end Ed Obranovich recalled it and said, I knew something horrible had happened, because when they were rolling Chuck off the field, one of his arms fell down and his hand was flopping around back and forth. And I thought to myself, again, I'm quoting here, holy Christ, I think he's dead. And, the widow actually is on record saying, I felt awful. I was very emotional that night. She said, can you imagine how his mother felt? It's a horrifying feeling. And I just felt so sorry for the whole family last night. Again, in retrospect now.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, shout out to the one and only and modern medicine. But Mr. Hamlin looks to be on a speedy road to recovery. You just don't want to see that kind of stuff. But again, when you do see those types of plays and things of that nature, well, this was of a different nature. It was a couple steps above. But again, violent hits and things of that like that, it just puts things for me in its proper perspective. And I go back and forth. We'll get to your comment in just 1 second. I appreciate everybody that's weighing in. We got mad love. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be no us. I say that all the time. We are of the people, not above the people. So thank you. Shout out to the people. But it puts things in its proper perspective. I will go to no end back and forth with people who make comments when it comes to football players and professional football players in particular. Oh, he can't stay on the field. Oh, but if he can only stay healthy, that to me, that is so disrespectful. And I've heard national commentators and guys who play the sport say the same thing. We have a friend of the show. Shout out to Gully coming back. We have a friend of the show who played in the NFL. Okay. And I've asked him on more than one occasion. I said, man, am I looking at this wrong to challenge people or get, almost indignant with people who say that? To me, that's crass to say that. How do you not see that there are human beings under those helmets? It's more to just the team emblem. And he said, no, man, you're wrong. He said, man, he said, it's ignorance, bro. It's ignorance. So again, for all of those people who think that these guys are not playing badminton, and I'm not dissing badminton players or volleyball players or world tag players or soccer players or any other players that play sports. I'm not. But when it comes to this sport, have some compassion. All right, for the guys underneath the helmet. Let's get to the comments right here. Oh, Miss Gatewood weighing in again. She says, so sad. I would worry about my oldest grandson playing Little League with a passion. You're right. Dangerous games should not be in the same sentence. Thank you, Miss Gatewood. And she's weighing in again. Praise God for Mr. Hamlin's healing. Absolutely. No question. We appreciate the comments as always. Yeah, I can't tell you how many people who love the sport, as do I, played it as a kid and the whole nine, was a part of my growing up. was like a rite of passage almost. You know what I'm saying? You didn't grow up in my neighborhood and not play football, down the man, or whatever the case may be. But when you see a guy and sitting next to a guy who actually played at that level, and you don't come away from that thinking differently, then you are what I'm not going to say on this P program today, okay? I sat next to my friend and never had noticed, and had been knowing him for a while up to that point, never noticed his fingers. He played offensive lineman under Eddie Robinson at Grambling, with the Browns under Belichick, and made the move to Baltimore with the Ravens. So yes, okay. I was at his house watching the Super Bowl, the Saints and the Colts. And he reached to grab his mug or cup to get something to drink off the table. And I just happened to see his fingers. His fingers looked like the game, tic-tac-toe, Twister. All right. And I was like, I said, man, how can you even? He said, man, that's not even the half of it, man. And I think he played like maybe 7 or 8 years. So imagine those guys who played 10, 12 years, guys like Mark Schreller that played for the Broncos with John Elway, who had 25 knee surgeries. I myself have had 2, okay? Ruptured the tendons in both knees, 2. And the rehab is brutal. To have 25, yeah, it puts it in its proper perspective, all right? Yeah, so again, shout out to Mr. Hamlin. You know, I'm so grateful and so glad that he's on his road to recovery and he's getting better. But I doubt, and I honestly pray that he never plays football again. I do. As much as we all sit in front of our TVs when it comes on, Super Bowl, wild cards, and all that kind of stuff, which is what we're getting ready to get to here in a minute, comes on. We all sit in front and center. But I pray he never plays that game again. So once again, shout out to my man, Mr. Hamlin, and all those, and of course, the one upstairs, first and foremost, who aided in his recovery. All right, last but not least, let's get to some of this NFL playoffs in the AFC. The rounds of division are here. Okay. In the AFC, we have the Chiefs and the Jags. Double J, who you got?
Well, you know, why many think the quarterback position in Andy Reid's offense is, simply put, recyclable. On the other
please, don't oh, wow, really?
No, it's not recyclable. It's duplicable. There's a difference.
Where did he come from? I thought he was gone.
No, he's not gone. Yeah, come on, he's never gone. What are you talking about? That man got tools. All right. Gully, I asked this question. I'm glad Brother Rich is not here. When Brother Rich get back, by the way, you all, in case you didn't know, Brother Rich is filling in for Denzel in training days 2 and 3. All right. But he'll be back with us shortly. Okay.
And in this upcoming fall's, newest Medea Halloween.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Wow. The man is all over the place. He will be back with us sooner rather than later, though. But Gully, I posed this question about 472 shows ago. We'll get to your comments here in a second. I said, put Deshaun Watson and Andy Reid's offense and the Chiefs could win a Super Bowl. Do you know Brother Rich and Double J, this guy right here, am I pointing right, told me I was crazy?
There are very few players. There's nobody who played a game like Patrick Mahomes, completely like him. But there are a few players to play the game exceptionally. Deshaun Watson is definitely one of those players.
Thank you.
Think that they would not be in a Super Bowl with his talent, with Deshaun Watson's type of talent, though unlike Patrick Mahomes, I think it's dishonest. We didn't say anybody. We didn't say even an average player. We said Deshaun Watson specifically.
But hold on, Gully. Hold that thought. But here's what they said all in the same breath. That's why I knew it was clickbait. In the same breath, they said that Deshaun Watson could take the Browns to a Super Bowl.
Right. The one that
Kevin Stefanski.
Right. So the guy that could go to a Super Bowl with Kevin Stefanski couldn't win a Super Bowl with Andy Reid.
When it was Andy Reid. That's why I said clickbait. They almost had me, but you almost only counted hand grenades and horseshoes. Just want to let you know. Yeah, they thought they had me, but guess what, Gully? I entertained them because it's show business. All right, it's what we do. So I kept going on, and I made it look convincing too. I was like, "What, man? Y'all crazy, man? Please!" I got off the show. Me and Khalil Nasir was having a laugh. Oh, come on, man! Really? I was born that night, not last night, man. Cut me in and cut yourself out. Why don't you? Gully, who you got? Chiefs and the Jags in the one divisional on the AFC side. Oh, well, before you respond, let me get to Miss Gay Woods. She responded again. Her comment by Mr. Hamlin. Absolutely. She said her too. I pray he never plays again either. That's right. Yeah, we were talking, of course, about Mr. Hamlin and his speedy road to recovery. All right. Gully, who you got? Chiefs or Jags?
You're not about to get spotted 27 points and think you're going to spot Patrick Mahomes and the rest of that team 27 points and think you're going to be able to entertain suiting up in the third quarter with a chance to win. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me say this right quick. Every game has its own complexity.
Sure.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We know that what you said is true. You're not going to spot Mahomes 27. It's not going to happen. I watched the Chiefs do ring around the rosy before a playoff game. And then they went out before a game and then went out and scored 700 points. That's how smooth they are with it. Okay. They just know. But the Chargers
Can Deshaun Watson do that?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson don't need to play ring around the rosy. He just needs his pass catchers to catch the ball. Okay. We watched the Chargers be the Chargers. The Chargers always Charger. They were going to lose that game if they had been up 37 points. They were going to lose that game. You just knew it. And now, the only way it wouldn't have happened had the Jags not scored before half. Then there would have been a chance. But when the Jags scored that 7 points, I said, "Oh, I turned the TV off." I said, "I watch when I'm God willing, I get up the next morning, watch the Jaguars beat them, won that game." And sure enough, but I'll say this as well: don't count out Doug Peterson. And the fact that Trevor Lawrence then got his playoff seasoning because he was like a deer in headlights. Because remember now, Herm used to tell us, that's our friend, by the way. Herm used to tell us, man, he said, man, he said the regular season is already, like, look at it like the volume dial on your, I don't know, your receiver or your radio in your car, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He said the regular season is like a 3 or 4. He said, man, the playoffs, the wild card even, it's like 5 or 6. He said, once you get to divisional and championship, he says 8 or 9. And Super Bowl is off the charts in terms of level of intensity. Every play, every possession, every moment, every instance, every call, every viewer, every go to the camera moment is all super intense, more so than the regular season. That's what I think kind of happened to Trevor Lawrence in the beginning of that game, man. I think he was deer in the headlights. That he wasn't ready for that moment. He was playing too fast. But when he came back in the second half, I don't think you'll see that same Trevor Lawrence, not that first half that you'll see in the first half against the Chiefs. I don't think he will.
I'm guessing, if I extrapolate on your point, I'm guessing what we saw from Trevor Lawrence in the second half is a very potent leader of a team that could perhaps deal with that adversity, because what you're looking at is you don't necessarily have to just beat the Chiefs defensively. You got to understand that the Chiefs are guaranteed to take a long time to drive and score. So you're not only beating the Chiefs defensively, but you also got to put up points to counter. You get what I mean? It's not a sustained thing to sustain them on the road. You got to be able to counter that. So to that point, I tell you what,
I see Chiefs winning. I just think it'll be a better game.
Yeah, it would be a shocking, fortunate turn of events for whomever my pick is on the other divisional playoff game if the Chiefs somehow shockingly don't win.
Double J, what say you?
I do agree with you. Every bit of what you just said as far as the whys behind Jacksonville having an opportunity. Because truthfully, in this era, there are just in general, I would say the last 20 years, there's only really been a handful of coaches that have done it against those types of odds. You think of that 2008 New York Giants team and Tom Coughlin, who specifically actually did that with Jacksonville. And of course, you think back to that Philadelphia team, who of course had Doug Peterson also. Trevor Lawrence has arrived. We've seen that. He has great players that he can use at his disposal around him. He has obviously the rapport with the running back, that being Etienne, which is, I think, it's being
his wide receiver. Kirk is a pretty darn good wide receiver.
That's right. Christian Kirk has been phenomenal. Nice. But he also has Marvin Jones on the other side, who's very consistent as well. So, and again, has been there and done it for many years. Defensively, they are much improved. I think the way that we, going into the next game with Cincinnati and the impact that Jamar Chase had, based on the rapport that he had with Joe Burrow, it's not being talked about enough with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, what they did at Clemson. So ultimately, I believe that, yes, Kansas City will win, and it will be due to their defense getting pressure from those ends when it matters most. So as you put it, with it being a 5 or 6, these guys are going to show up, and it's going to come down to that final possession.
Yeah, I'll ask these two questions. Gully, if you're still with us, has Andy Reid lost when expected otherwise?
That was his MO for me.
Has Doug Peterson won when expected otherwise?
No.
Yeah. Are you hearing me what I'm saying?
No, I didn't.
Who expected the Eagles to beat the Patriots?
Nobody.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody expected Doug Peterson. So I'm not saying I believe the Chiefs will win. I do. But Andy Reid got about as many Super Bowls wins as does Doug Peterson.
Well, I'm going to say this, and this is why I pointed to the defense specifically, because yes, they're not great. They're above average for sure. And obviously we know who I lean on specifically to make that impact. But for those that don't know, new to the program, George Karlaftis specifically, but the receiving core for Kansas City scares me. There is no Tyreek Hill to bail you out if you are down with very little time left. And when teams attempt to, basically hone in on by way of zone on Kelsey, can Juju really emerge to be the guy that really I think everyone wanted him to be, or he claimed he was supposed to be for all those years, even including while in Pittsburgh? Is Mecole Hardman going to really be able to fill the role with the speed and actually make the critical catch? He hasn't been capable of doing that yet, let alone consistently.
But you know what?
That's what worries me.
But you know what, though? I hear you. But I'm gonna flip the coin over. I actually believe this is a better Chiefs team, and I emphasize the word team, than the year that they won the Super Bowl and the year that they lost. And I'll say that because both Andy Reid and Mahomes have had to learn how to adjust, right? Without having a burner or a fall guy or a guy you can always, a go-to guy. See, now because look at Mahomes' ball distribution. It is his ball distribution has been much more even.
They've had a fall guy. I disagree. I didn't mean to say fall guy.
I didn't mean to say fall guy. I meant to say without a cheetah. In other words, he's had to go to other players.
He's checking it down, Jay. That's why McKinnon set a record.
Okay, whatever it is, however you got to do it, they're still winning.
I know, but and I get your point that you're right.
So you're saying they don't have somebody to take the lid off?
That's what they do. That's why they brought in this specific receiving core to try to replicate that they have the capability of doing so. It's just I haven't seen it yet. And so in some ways, if you're glass half full, you could say, well, you know what? If they do, look out.
I mean, but Patrick Mahomes is largely considered, you want to talk about a Jordan guy. He's considered the NFL's Michael Jordan.
Oh,
that guy can win with Dickie Simpkins. I'm just trying to tell you. Okay, Judd Buechler. Okay.
Oh.
I'm just saying. And then too, this Chiefs team is more like, think about the year they went to the Super Bowl a few years back. Okay, they had the cheetah. They had Mahomes.
He was hurt.
Well, I'm talking about the year they won.
Oh, okay.
The year they won. But outside of those three, maybe four, maybe another two guys, who were the Chiefs? The Chiefs were those five people, so to speak. Now, especially on the defensive side, not only do you got Karlaftis, all right? Shout out to Karlaftis Purdue, all right? But who you got? My man, number 95, who's that? Chris Ford? Who is that number 95 guy? He is a problem on the interior. The Chiefs, they really wasn't doing the Chiefs that year. They won the Super Bowl. I'm just going off the top of my head here, and I don't have much hair. I'm just letting y'all know that right now, so I won't take my hat off to scare nobody. But I'm saying their defense probably was what, 35th out of 30, ranked 35th out of 32 teams. If the Chiefs scored 40 points, their defense gave up 39.5 on a regular. This Chiefs defense, along with this offense, to me, they're more balanced out. I'm talking about over, so you can go up and down the roster, that type of deal. They're more balanced on both sides of the ball. They can get 2 or 3 stops that you and kill a couple of possessions for the other team that you otherwise might have got. You might not get them extra 3 possessions against the Chiefs defense this go round as you did against the Chargers. You get what I'm trying to say? But then who's to say, though, with Doug Peterson, you might only need 5 possessions and you might win by 2. I don't. What's the line, by the way? Do you know what the line is?
Let's find out.
Gully, what you think? You got any words on that, Gully? You want to wait and say something here? Okay, he's messing with the tube belt again. This guy here. Would you please gather yourself? Oh my gosh. What's the line?
8.5.
Ooh.
They are getting no respect. Rodney Dangerfield.
8.5. But it's 8.5. What's today? Thursday? What's about to be Thursday? The game is what, Saturday? Or is it Sunday?
That game is on, let's see. Looks like Saturday.
So today is Thursday. Getting ready to be Thursday, Friday. I bet you right before game, I bet you drop down to 5.5. Bet you.
You think it's going to drop that low?
And I don't gamble.
That's a lot of shark money, Jay. I don't know if
I'm telling you. That line, what did it, can you tell me what did it start out at? What did it start out at? I bet you it was more than 8.
Let's see.
Gully, what you think? Did you hear the question I asked?
Here's the thing, and this is what's interesting, right? So related to the spread itself, and you talking about it changing. The over-under is 53. So now, we're talking a 31-20, something-ish game.
Okay, hold it. Okay, do this right quick. Do the math right quick. 53 divided by 2 is what? 20.
26.
Yep.
Okay, so right around in that 30, 28, 26, 30, 28. So see that's the point I'm trying. Listen, does that make sense? The over and under is 53. So they're expecting the Jaguars to put up some points.
No, they're not. They're doing the opposite. They think Kansas City is going to score. To have a spread at 8.5 to cover that with a 53 total.
Yeah, how do you cover that? Let's start. Let's go 53 minus All right, so let's see. 53 minus 53 total points. You got to give them both at least half, right?
That's
so
right. That's what I'm trying to say. You got to give them both half.
Give them both half to start with. Then you adjust the slider to account for the spread. When you do that, you got to take some away from Jacksonville and bring that and slide that on over to Kansas City. So that's 22-30. That's 3 touchdowns for Jacksonville that they're looking at.
It's 8.5, not 8.
All right, cool. So that's still what?
21 touchdowns. Yeah, at least 3 touchdowns.
That's 6, 12, 18. That's at least 3 touchdowns.
I see. I'm telling you right now, that line is you're gonna go with. Gosh, it's got to be if you're thinking from a game script standpoint, right? This is how if you're gonna put, if you're gonna go into this thing and actually attempt to bet on it, you're saying this is how I anticipate this game to play.
Trevor Lawrence is going to find the end zone with a receiver at least twice. Okay, then you got probably 2 extra points. Then you got 2 extra points. Okay, then you go, all right, so let's say we don't get 3 touchdowns. Instead, we get 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, and maybe 2 field goals, one before halftime. Yeah, you still up there. You still getting 20 points.
Listen. And I'm telling you right now, anybody that's putting money down on this game, if you're doing it now, that's fool's go. You don't do that now.
You're right.
You wait. Listen to me. I ain't gambled in 720 years. Listen, this I'm telling you, hide the Listerine, folks. I'm just here to tell you. That's why I can't be nowhere around it. I'm telling you, I go off the deep end every time. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So you tell me, what are you picking here? Are you taking the over? Or are you taking the under? And are you taking?
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting
for that line
minus the points.
I'm waiting
Jacksonville plus the points.
I don't think that line is accurate. To your point, I'm sorry, Barbershop. Yeah,
I don't think that line is gonna stay at 8.5.
Go ahead.
It might come down to 7.5, maybe, but it's not gonna stay at 8.5. I don't believe it's gonna stay at 8.5. I just don't. And if whatever it come down to, I'm taking Jacksonville in that.
So if
you can have your over.
You need to take it at 8.5 because if it comes down, that's hurting you.
No, not really.
Yes, less points to work with. I don't believe that it's minus 110. So again, $1 to $1.10 payout. I don't believe you're going to get any kind of juiced odds if that line continues to go down. Where basically $1 to say equals $1 or $1 equals 3.10.
Okay, so let's say this. Let's say the line drops to 5.5. That's what I think. Oh, well, maybe 6.5. Maybe
so you think KC kind of wins this comfortably then by a touchdown?
But here's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm gonna jump out the plane at 32,000 feet with no parachute on this one. That line comes to 6.5, and I think the Jaguars win by 7. I'm rolling the dice here, baby. I'm rolling the dice.
To Gully's point, and some of you guys are, I believe both are forgetting, is the role of a 2-point conversion if down double digits. And this is what I believe Vegas is betting on.
Or extra point.
Well, I'm suggesting because Harrison Butker for the Chiefs is pretty consistent, but the Jags, on the other hand, and Doug Peterson, I think this last game woke him up because he called it one of his best coaching performances. So he's going to know he has to be aggressive if they truly stand a chance. Yes, playing smart, right? But that dangerous line, which there is a very thin one between aggressive and reckless.
He got to play aggressive more so on defense than offense. He got to play aggressive both. You got to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. You have to. And you have to spy Mahomes. You have to spy Mahomes.
Right. And this is where the role of those running backs comes into play with Pacheco. I mean, they really have a three-headed monster if they choose to use the kid from LSU, CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, they still have him. And then, but again, McKinnon has been who he's always been. You talked about Samaje Perine. McKinnon can catch the ball and move with it. Pacheco was phenomenal at Rutgers, and it shows because he's brought very much that same agility to. But again, if we're going to game script this, I don't believe Pacheco is a between the tackles runner. He's more off tackle. To the, to the left.
He is. Okay, so is it checkers, chess, or chess, Gully? You still with me, Gully? Technical difficulties. Double J, you weigh in. Chess, or chess, checkers? I'm talking about Peterson.
This is. I think we're in quantum mechanics. This is so next level, and I know all the jokes of the Waffle House menu for Andy Reid, but in reality, he has a menu, and
I know it.
It is It is as savory as some A5 Wagyu, but it is as deep as your hidden Kentucky bourbon bar.
Gully, did you hear what I asked you?
Yeah, it's definitely a chess match. I'm trying to. What I wanted to ask was, where do you think it's best for you to take that risk to run assertively, aggressively, to play more aggressively, offensively, if you're the Jags, or defensively?
Both.
Like to take chances.
Both.
Like let's say you both. So you gotta actually kind of like go out there swinging. Like this not really you gotta kind of go out there and sling it and swing it and see what happens.
Hey man, it's game 7.
Yeah, it's all game 7 in football, right?
I mean, ask Dan Marino what it feels like.
This is why I'm going to throw these at you. The Jags are 4-5 when rushing more than 30 times. They're also 2-7 when the opposing team converts 55% or more of its red zone chances for touchdowns. They're 2-8 when the opposing team commits less than 30 yards in penalties. So if Andy Reid just has them playing discipline and they convert in the red zone, this makes it a very long shot for Jackson.
Yeah, that sounds like a long, boring game too.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. I just got a feeling, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. Them Jaguars, man. Somebody in that locker room is. You know what I would label this game if I was the National any given Sunday?
Trap game.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I would lay. And I mean, who knows? It's Kansas City might go in there and they hokey pokey. This might be 50-12. Who knows? I mean, it's possible.
So this to you is harder to call than the other game in the AFC?
No, not in the least bit. I think it's just from a line standpoint. If I had to choose, like just a money line pick, just who's going to win, I would say with about 75% confidence that Kansas City, no doubt. I do believe that at 8.5, give me the 8.5 for Jacksonville. I think they cover that.
Well, guess what? If we playing quarters, my 25%, take your 75%. I'm just trying to tell y'all right now, man.
But it's going to come down to I'm going to throw this last one at you, and this is going to be the difference maker for me that you're going to pay attention to in the game, and it is third down conversion rate. The Chiefs are at about 50%, which is the second best in the league, and the Jags defense is at about 43% as far as allowing, which is the fourth worst in the league. If that changes, this game changes.
Yeah, well, and on that note, we'll move on to the other AFC matchup because that's it right there. Where's Joe Jurevicius when you need him? Bengals at the Bills. I don't even know what to say about this one. Joe Burrow is amazing. His left tackle is gone. Even with the guy, the offensive line still is poor. I don't understand. How do you – every team in the NFL, every year in every draft is looking for a franchise quarterback. They have one, a bona fide one, and you have yet to put any type of offensive line around this guy to protect him. Put this guy behind any other team in the playoffs right now. Put this guy behind the Titans' offensive line with Derrick Henry. They're sitting in the same spot right now. But the Bengals offensive line, they got everything else but an offensive line, and yet this guy still keep getting it done. That's a testament to him because that offensive line is terrible. But then on the flip side, the Bills are one-dimensional. Their defense can get got. I trust out of the whole slate of AFC teams right now, I'm going to be honest with you. Chiefs, Jags, Bengals, Bills. Well, I trust the Bengals defense more than I do anybody else's in this one. Up next will be Kansas City.
Hang on.
The last will be the Bills.
You talk about the defense, okay? Trey Flowers, hamstring. DJ Reader is rest. He should be good to go.
You talking about for the Bills?
No, for the Bengals.
Oh, really?
Eli Apple, neck.
Oh, nobody's worried about Eli. Excuse me. That's why I'm yawning. Eli Apple.
The other defensive end and their
more
safety.
like Johnny Appleseed right now.
All right.
Okay, well, now see, that's another thing. Got to factor in injuries. What's the injury report? Oh,
that's
boy.
it right there. You got the right guard, Alex Kappa, that you mentioned. An offensive tackle, Jonah Williams, did not practice.
Yeah.
They're both week to week.
Joe Burrow is a difference maker.
But, okay, we talk – so people – this is an interesting anomaly, I believe, because, you know, for years, the issue – the game plan for Burrow was blitz, right, that the O-line had issues. He's figured that out. Now, obviously, the O-line was a little bit improved, but not great. But he himself, his decision-making was quicker. With these guys out, it'll be interesting because here's why. On the opposite end, Josh Allen being blitzed is one of the worst. You want to know who he's with? Zach Wilson. And a couple other. Yes, he is in the bottom 4 in the league while being blitzed.
You know what? I got to pay attention to this in this Bengals Bills. Watch to see whether or not if Zach Taylor goes with the pony formation. You might see him going with Samaje and Mixon in the backfield, which is what I wanted Kevin Stefanski to do with the Browns. You don't waste.
Here we go.
Oh, sorry. This is only in Cleveland. Oh, I see, baby. You don't have Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I get it. I get it. When you want to rest Chubb, you bring in Dearness Johnson. Kareem Hunt is a starter in the NFL. When you have Kareem Hunt on you run pony. As did the Browns in their franchises. Go all the way back to Jim Brown and Ernie and Leroy Kelly and Mike Pruitt and Greg Pruitt and Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner. Do I need to keep going on and on? I know the Browns aren't in the playoffs, but it kills me to see teams with that type of talent in the backfield and they bring one out and rest the other guy and only give one guy 4 carries and another guy 2.5 carries. What's the line on that?
So I'm going to say this, actually, believe it or not, to your point, why they should do exactly what you're saying. They're undefeated when allowing less than 3 sacks. So again, if they're using kind of that split formation, even if one is a decoy and picking up blitz, and then additionally, they're undefeated when averaging more than 5 yards per rush. So if they're mixing it up that way, and they're not, and they're keeping Joe Burrow upright, they're untouchable.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Right now, I mean, Hey, I mean, I trust the Bengals more so than I do anybody. The Jags, in the case of the Jags and the Chiefs, I just like to see the Jags win. I think the Chiefs will win, but I just like to see the Jags win, just to have something different all the way through. You know, that would be one heck of a story. Excuse my French fries, okay, right now. But yeah, that'd be one heck of a story going into the championship games. I mean, can you imagine that? No Tony Boselli, no Mark Brunell, okay, no Jimmy Smith, all right, no Fred Taylor, no Keenan McCardle, who the Browns also had. Excuse me, I'm just saying. All right,
that team was deep.
Yes, it was. So all right, yeah, so underrated, Mill. The Bills are riding a wave, but I do not trust them. They're one-dimensional. Gully, are you not done loading the dishwasher? Oh my God! You been loading the dishwasher for about 2 hours now. Okay, what you need some help over there? You know what I'm saying? Khalil Nasir, pony up. You know what I'm saying? Send the boys up that way, baby. You know what I'm saying? Khalil does have a car now. Stop asking me for a ride.
Yeah.
This line is 4.5.
Okay, for who's getting the points?
Cincinnati's
getting the points because they're in Buffalo.
And the total is 48. So less points than that Jacksonville KC game, but a tighter point spread between the two.
Gully, what you got to say, man? You got to weigh in on this one, man. I'm at an impasse right now.
I still think very highly of Cincinnati, and by now there's been enough of the line that's been depleted that if it was going to hurt them significantly,
it would have done.
It would have already. So them losing the game ain't gonna be, oh man, well the line went together. You know what I'm saying? It'll have to be something else, right?
Because they are getting the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands a lot quicker as a result of that.
So hang on a second, Gully. What do you make of just past week and what happened? So again, both of those injuries happened just against the Ravens.
Yep.
And so Baltimore without Lamar Jackson, and they had only thrown like 2 touchdowns to receivers all season long.
But that's the AFC North.
That first of all, it was a rivalry game. It was a rivalry game. Yes.
Rival game.
No matter what, the fact that listen, I'm gonna tell you something. The fact that Lamar Jackson didn't play in it, it may sound like a hot point, like a hot take I'm going for here. The fact that Lamar Jackson didn't play, it's like it made no difference. That game was gonna be that close no matter what. It's a rivalry game.
Thank you. Go back and look at the games that Lamar Jackson has played against the Bengals since Joe Burrow been there, if nothing else. The AFC North, believe it or not, minus the Browns, has always been the litmus test for the most part. Go back and look at it. If you were a team to advance to the Super Bowl at some point or get through the playoffs, at some point you had to either beat the Bengals, the Ravens, or the Steelers to get there. The Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bengals beat each other up, and the Browns on occasion they might show up depending on if the popcorn is 25 cents or $1 that day. I don't know. Dollar Dog Night. I don't know at Jacobs Field. Yeah. But the AFC North is the litmus test for the entire NFL. I'm sorry. It's like the black and blue division for real, and not just a namesake. If you beat the Steelers, because the Steelers almost got in now. I mean, they were whoa. Yeah. You know how when the Steelers get into a round robin, ain't no telling.
I tried to tell you.
Paging James Harrison. I'm just saying. All right. Where's Hines Ward at? I'm glad I just mentioned that. Hines Ward, when he laid somebody out for us and then stood over him, that's the AFC North in a nutshell. Okay. The Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers always play each other. Throw their records when they meet each other in the playoffs, throw all that other stuff out the window. The only thing that matters is I see you twice, how many times a season? Now come see me now. This always, man, you know how many players were injured after that game? Okay. And everybody say, well,
it's like the case is no matter what it's like the case is no matter what the rest of the league think about you, I know who you really are.
Hello. And that's the AFC North right there. In the
That's it. That's it. Because I don't think you're gonna get I don't know what other defense in the rest of the playoffs, aside from maybe what San Francisco got going on, that has the ability to press all those buttons like that. That's why I'm a little less concerned with Kansas City as I am if I'm a fan if I'm riding with Cincinnati. I'm a little less concerned with Kansas City as I am with Buffalo. Because Buffalo got a lot riding on this. They know their window is short. They didn't had too many opportunities that they missed. Yeah. And Cincinnati surprised them last year.
And Josh Allen, man, he's a talented guy, but he
gonna Josh Allen again.
Yeah. Because they have virtually no run game. Singletary rushed the ball more times in that game than I've seen him do all season. And what do you have, like 9 carries for 9.5 yards? You're not going to get away with that against Cincinnati. You're just not going to get away with it.
So who learned more in the 5 minutes of play?
Nobody.
The Bengals.
Nobody. Nobody. It's nobody.
I don't do what ifs. Tua in that game, the Dolphins win that game.
Yeah.
The Dolphins win that game, man, because the Dolphins defense came to play. And Skylar Thompson threw one touchdown at least?
You want my bold prediction? I think Tom Brady is the starting quarterback for Miami in a year.
I hope not.
Yeah, me too.
I hope not. I hope he's calling games on NFL and then got his podcast. Let's let this, unless he got a whole Mark Brunell situation going on and everybody being nice and they don't want to say nothing about it.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Yeah, I got. In all honesty, I think the Chiefs win, and I think it's the Bengals and the Chiefs again in the AFC Championship. Barring injury and all that other stuff, I think it's the Bengals and the Chiefs. But I would not be surprised if it's the Bengals and the Jags. I think, yeah, I do.
So you're giving Buffalo no shot here.
I'm giving them a shot, but you can't get Buffalo. Miami, when's the last time the Miami Dolphins won a game in the 25-degree weather? The Dolphins looked like the Bills, and the Bills looked like the Dolphins for a lot of portion of that game. I'm just trying to tell you. Then Josh Allen came alive, but they let him stand back there for the most part, I guess.
I'll put it this way. Cincinnati better not get the ball to start the second half.
Hello, Joe. They don't call the man Joe for nothing. I don't like comparisons, but I mean, the man's starting to look like the second coming to somebody else.
So I'm gonna throw this at you. Buffalo has snow on Friday and wintry mix sleet on Sunday.
But they're playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, they're playing Cincinnati.
Okay.
They're playing the AFC North team. All right, exactly. Buffalo about the toughest. Buffalo, let's say. So I think Buffalo, then maybe Green Bay, then maybe Chicago. One of those three teams are the teams that's the worst to play in snowy weather. You know what I mean? But it's like 1A and 1B. But point is, it's the cold weather. It's Cincinnati. We get it too.
Yeah, we get it too. Yeah, we've had the Ice Bowl and all that stuff here. Yeah, think about the AFC Championship when the Oakland Raiders at the time came up here. Red Right 88. All right, I know the history. Okay. Sipe MVP forced it to IZ when Dave Logan was waving his hands, and no, don't take me down.
I just love it because the prediction in the weather's not always correct, but we're only a few days out, and usually they're pretty close.
Yeah, but weather shouldn't be a factor in this game.
It is going to be right at game time. The precipitation hits at about 50% and increases to 77% pretty much throughout the entire game.
So that really don't go well for Buffalo. They can't run the ball.
We're talking. Well, I don't know.
No.
But
I put it like this: historically, I mean, it'd be one heck of a breakout game. But you're talking about Mixon and Pirine. having to take care of the ball, that means Burrow's probably going to be less likely to be sacked because they're going to get the handoffs and screen pass situations. So he's going to be upright a lot more, even with a weak offensive line. It's going to be a whole lot more running. This might be ugly for Buffalo.
Cincinnati.
What it vaguely reminds me of is that Minnesota game.
What Minnesota game?
The one that Buffalo lost.
They weren't outside, were they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, they were. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah.
They started hot, and the worse that the weather got, the worse they played.
Listen, the Cincinnati Bengals are built for this, as is the Buffalo Bills. But I'm telling you right now, I'll take Cincinnati's running game over the Bills' running game all day, every day, no matter where it's at. I don't care if you play at a neutral site. I don't care if you play, I don't know, in the Neapolitan site. It don't make no, never mind. The Bengals are ready. On the NFC side of things, before we wrap things up and get on out of here, Eagles at the Giants. Funny how, Gully, if you're still with us, oh, yes, you are. I don't know how many moons and how many shows ago, somebody here on this program said that the NFC East asked the question, was it the toughest division in football? But no, it was all about the AFC West, the LA Chargers, okay, the Oakland Raiders. It's all about those Vegas teams, all those teams that play out in the nice portions of the country, right? Imagine that. The 1/3? No, is it 1/3? How many teams? 8? 3
half the division.
Huh?
Wait a minute. Half the division is in the playoffs.
Thank you. Half of the NFC East is in the playoffs. Thank you.
There's
3 or 4. Oh, that's 75%. Okay. All right. I take it. 75% of the NFC least, as some people like to say on this program, is in the playoffs. And guaranteed, not necessarily, because they do have the Niners, but the Eagles and the Giants are facing off. I'm trusting the Giants.
Yeah, I'm about to say, the Giants.
I like the Eagles to win the division. That was earlier when we did our preview, but this is the playoffs. I'm taking the Giants.
Now you like Daniel Jones. A week later, I said they were going to go and win the game in Minnesota.
We all said that. We all agreed to that. We all picked that. I mean, the Vikings defense is the worst defense in the NFL. The Vikings defense is worse than any Canadian League team right now. I'll take the Argonauts or the Eskimos over the Vikings defense. I'm telling you that now. Wink Martindale, baby. Wink Martindale. Woo. Brian Dable, former Browns coaching staff. Gully, do you think you could ever sidebar? Do you think you could ever get over the fact that the Browns let Kyle Shanahan go?
No, never.
I'll never live
that down. He was the same guy that you see.
The same guy.
You know what? I'm going to tell you like this. They were probably glad that he was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons in that Super Bowl, because that was the only time where it may have slightly justified them moving on. But other than that, before and since then, look at what we got.
Regretting it. I told you that was going to be the biggest regret today was letting Kyle Shanahan get out of here. Anywho, who you got? Eagles, Giants. Gully?
Oh, G-Man.
I do too.
G-Man. G-Man.
Who you got, Double J?
Yeah, I'm leaning Giants here also. The only concern, believe it or not, is Boston Scott for me. The little speedster. He has been a giant killer historically.
Yeah, he's the kick returner for the Eagles. Yeah, he can flip a field, boy. Woo! I don't know. I just think that's gonna be another. Here we go. It's another division game for half the marbles. One side of the NFC Championship marbles is on the line in this one, man. And it's for the NFC. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I'm picking the G-Man, too. And last but not least, the Niners at the Cowboys. Gully, who you got?
Ooh, man, you know what? He's been marvelous, man. and he's been able to engineer a well-coached game for no matter who he's got behind center as a quarterback. I would love to pick Dallas. It would be great for them to finally do something unexpected in terms of winning for once. But I'm going to take San Francisco at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take San Francisco at home, not even for the players that they got on the field, offensively or defensively. I'm going to take San Francisco because I just cannot see a moment where Kyle Shanahan is out-coached by Mike McCarthy. I can't see no scenario. I can't picture a scenario, B scenario, no scenario. Eat your Cheerios. Mike McCarthy.
Here we go, yo. So what's the
scenario? Yeah, that's right. Groove low. What was it? Groove theory, low end theory. Yeah, right. Got you. It's time for past my bedtime. I don't see a scenario where Mike McCarthy out coaches Kyle Shanahan. I just don't do it. That's before we get to the kickoff. All right. The 49ers just got they packing hella punch, baby. They got weapons. Outside of Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Ayuk, Debo, Mitchell, McCaffrey, and Kittle. Give me 5? It's gonna be Cincinnati and San Fran in the bowl, baby. That's right, baby. Right here, right now on the program at the 2 hour 40-minute mark. Barbershop Jay is jumping out the plane, off the top of his building in Abu Dhabi with no parachute. Yeah. Bengals, Niners, Super Bowl 95. Keep hope alive. I'm just saying, who you got? Double J, who you got? Gully already made his pick. He said the Chargers. I'm just saying.
I'm going to jump out of the plane myself, potentially with no parachute, and fall flat here. I actually think this is where.
Hold on, is Miss Alva flying the plane? She might dump you out. I'm just.
Where's the Lucia? Where's the Lucia?
Yeah.
Find the Lucia.
Yeah,
here we go.
Stop, buddy. Here's your stop. And it's not Air Force One, so don't even make that reference.
He about to pit the Cowboys. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Oh, no, he not. No, he not. I know he ain't. He is not about to do that.
No, you're not.
Look, I'm getting back on camera. I know he ain't about to do it. I know you ain't about to do this.
I'm about to flag this. I dare you. I double dare you. I double dog dare you.
You about to what? Go ahead. Just say it. Just say it.
I think this is the year.
The year of what? Say it. You gotta say it. You gotta say it. No, you gotta say it.
Gully, I'm about to flag this.
Come on.
I think Dak is back.
Okay.
Oh,
no.
And Jerry's boys are about to go do what they did when Dion was wearing the star.
Wow. So say it. No, say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I think Dallas is going to win the Super Bowl.
Wow! He said it. He said it. He said it.
Let me rephrase. I think they represent the NFC.
Dallas goes to the Super Bowl.
No. You said it the first time. Dallas going to the Super Bowl. Oh, I bet you won't put that in the thread. I bet you won't put that. But it's all right. We got it. We got it right here on the program, baby. We do record. We do. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And Gully, he said that with no Lucia.
Yep, you're right. Because I think I had the Lucia.
From the Powerade.
There's no way. Barring injury, man, the Cowboys ain't got nothing. Man, come on, man.
I don't know. Again, this quarterback, it's too important of a position.
Who did the Cowboys beat to get to this point?
Tom Brady.
Did Tom Brady look like Tom Brady at all this season? No.
Peyton Manning didn't look like Peyton Manning when he won the Super Bowl.
No, but no. But Peyton Manning Peyton Manning didn't go through a divorce. No offense. That's number one. Number two, you knew something was off with Brady after the fact. How many times did he miss Mike Evans on them deep throws?
Yeah, there were some timing issues.
Yeah, it was time, and you don't see that out of Brady. That did not look like the same Tampa Bay team that Tampa Bay team was all in disarray. And then Dallas's kicker was on the take. You missed 4 extra points, really? I'm reminded of that scene in Shawshank Redemption when the guy came and opened up the box, the pie box.
That game was never close.
Man, I don't care. He missed 4 extra points.
And let's not act like Dallas was firing on all cylinders themselves. They just played the game.
Listen,
that was far from, clearly, as you emphasized with the kicker, that was far from a perfect game. So what happens if they play better? And then we know conclusively they would play a divisional opponent. And if it happened to be the Giants, they would get a home game, which for a trip to the Super Bowl, I can only think of 2 places that would be that loud. One being Detroit, because it hasn't happened in over 70 years, and Dallas, because they are them boys, if you will.
Hey, man, I don't see it. I just don't see that. Barring injury,
you know what? That I'm gonna tell you what. If you have to make a case for it happening and say, hey, listen, you know, you on a debate team and you flip a coin and the coin says Dallas wins the Super Bowl, make it happen. Double J made the case for why it happens. What's at stake and what advantages you have to your path. You're ultimately going to listen. You're going to that. You're visiting, but again, you're a team that plays in the dome, so you're going to a warm weather anyway. You ain't got to worry about the cold, and eventually, if you play well, that the noviceness, if you will, of that quarterback is subject to show up.
Parsons. It's not the offense for the Cowboys. This is not Kyle Shanahan being able to go against put his defense, which is good. It's not great against a Sharon Rodgers, where we know it's
the 49ers defense is in the top 5.
They're good. They are good.
They're darn good.
But again, this is the difference. The Cowboys defense is not a slouch this year. And that's where, again, we're talking about Mr. Irrelevant, literally the last pick in the 7th round. He's done.
They said that about Tom Brady too, though. Tom Brady was picked in the 40th.
So are we really ready to say that Brock Purdy's Tom Brady?
No, what I'm saying where they were picked at. You can't say where a guy was picked at. You know, there are cases where a guy was picked last. Ginobili was picked in what round was Ginobili picked in, Gully? Back when the NBA had 25 rounds? Yeah, exactly. All right. And the guy was in the Hall of Fame worthy candidate after his first year with the Spurs. I'm just saying, where a guy was picked at, unless you're talking about Michael Oliver Candy. In that case, no candy for you, baby.
That was when he was calling him Gino Beely. They weren't even calling him the name right.
Yeah. Dag Gully, I can't even get it out. Double J done planted the seed. He done planted the seed.
I know that's that story making, man. Listen, if this happens, then you need to become a scriptwriter for WWE, because that fantasy that you just picked up is compelling. It's a thought
provoker.
Yeah,
it's a thought provoker.
Here's the thing, Gully, Brandy Reed. Well, actually, she's not Brandy Rhodes. So there's a connection there locally. That's Cody Rhodes' wife, and obviously he's a spawn of a Hall of Famer, and still actively involved in WWE. So there you go. There might be a way here.
Dang, Gully, he laid it out too, didn't he? I thought I was the only one that watched Perry Mason. Daggone it.
He did. He laid it out. He connected all the dots. I am. Maybe it is Delucia. I don't know. But I might start drinking it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Maybe it sounded to me.
Maybe
the way that sounded, I might drink it too. So grow me some hair.
Right. Yeah, it's a miracle worker for sure.
That stuff is strong, man. Oh wow. Okay, so I'll tell you this. I want to know the viewership for that game. I mean, it's gonna be like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it would be either way, but specifically if that game is in Dallas, just forget about it. You're setting some kind of broadcast record.
So you see,
man, they might even put that on pay-per-view. They might put that on pay-per-view. It might be on DAZN.
Yeah, shout out to that. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Well,
yep.
Well, daggone.
And Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou gonna fight 2 rounds at halftime.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you did see Jake Paul. Speaking of Jake Paul, you see who he's fighting now, right?
No. Who is he?
Tommy Fury.
Oh. Well, before my man got in trouble, I would have loved to see him fight Andrew Tate.
What a way to end the show, Tommy Fury.
He's undefeated. Oh my gosh.
Oh please. Oh please. So was Rocky. You know what I'm saying? Adrian. Oh please, man. Nobody watches boxing no more. That's why I said, man, Spence running up to 154 for what? Man, please. You want to test yourself? Test yourself with a guy that's already at that weight class and been fighting at that weight class.
You heard what Gully said. You heard
I know.
On this very same show.
Yeah, I know. He drinks Lucia too sometimes. And on that note, I leave you without a quote. Man, it's been almost 3 hours in the books, and we got to get out of here. It's been fun, but we got to run. Don't forget to check us out every Wednesday at 9 on the PM side, right here on the yard. Or y'all can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the shop's fan page, and of course, YouTube. And when you're at the tube, please make sure you hit that little subscribe button, the little bell, ching-a-ling-a-ling. I don't have the sound right now. We'd be much obliged. And if that don't work, y'all can Google it. For my man's Be Rich, Double J, D Gully, is TJ still part of the P program? I guess so, yeah. And TJ, yeah. And my man DLC. And all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.